Finish him off! Finish him off!
He's calling for it!
This is it! This is it! Your career's on the line here! Do it! Do it! This place will erupt when he picks him up!
He's got him up! Oh, hell yeah! 1, 2, 3!
Thank you! Thank you! We've got a new heavyweight champion!
Climb the ladder, kid! Make yourself famous! I just had an out-of-body experience! What did we just see? What did we just see?
He got him in a power slam! He got him in a power slam! He got it! Simmons got it! Simmons has won the match! Simmons is a champion!
I've always maintained that reality is for people who can't face drugs.
Shit is about to get real.
You get shit, knee. Shit.
Look at the stare of the champion against the challenger. What?
And now, Straight Talk Society presents Wrestling with Reality.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
It's going to be the biggest battleground in the history of our sport. The biggest match in pro wrestling history.
The two biggest superstars in our sport in the biggest event the sport has ever seen. The biggest match in the history of our sport.
A little scalded dog here. Enough is enough. That's enough. No! Oh, God, that's enough! Stop it! Fail! Listen, it's tougher than a $2 steak. Who is your daddy? Who's your daddy, Undertaker? Slam! Slam! Who's your daddy, Undertaker? Lucifer's lips are the biggest size in the WWE! Somebody stop this! Somebody stop the damn man! Enough's enough!
What?
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Dude, got it real! Woo!
WWE Dynamite.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time. Let's rock.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
So to escape from reality?
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I am reality.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Oh, it's live, Hal.
Let the slaughter begin! It is now time for
Wrestling!
With reality.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Junior, look at this.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
number one to be the man, baby! You have to beat the man! Heavyweight champion of the world. The time is now. Reality has become the present, and the final lesson of the pain game has begun. Have you ever heard a joke like that in your life?
You are gonna wrestle my ass for the world title. You will have to kill me to keep me from killing you. Woo!
The 90s have been referred to as the reckoning with truth. In the 80s, everything was clouded. Nobody ever told the truth. In the 90s, the way to go is flat out. Tell no lies. That's the way we're gonna do it. When you hear something from our lips, truth it may be, and as much as it may hurt, you can count on it being exactly the way that it is.
We want the gold, sucker! Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga!
Oh, what is up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and we are back with another episode, of Wrestling with Reality. And I see he just came in just as I started introductions. Producer extraordinaire, Venkat in the building. What's going on, Venkat?
What's going on, Trevor?
Oh, not a damn thing. Shout out to Big Money Mike in the building. There's 6 of you guys watching live right now. Please make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We waiting on MD, but we do have what is probably going to be a spirited show today. It's 10 of you guys watching now. Please make sure and hit that like button. Well, we're gonna have what promise
TFP in the house.
Huh?
TFP in the house.
Oh, yeah, we do promise to have, no, I said that wrong. We are going to have what promises to be a spirited conversation because we're talking about none other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon, part 3 and 4 of the Netflix docuseries. So I watched this. What's today? Today's Wednesday. So I watched this Monday. I watched episode 3 and 4 on Monday because I just couldn't get it in over the weekend. Now, what I will say, and we'll get into it more. I wasn't too fond of episode 3 and 4. Now I know there's some great talking points that's coming out of it. Don't get me wrong, but just the episodes overall to me, there was nothing new. I should say that. So it's one of those things. Peace to Hassan Terrell in the building. It's one of those things to me, like peace to Adam Khan. Welcome back, man. That's good. Yeah, Adam says it was for casuals. It was one of those things to me, like it did nothing for somebody like me, Venkat and MD, because we already knew all that. Now there's some things, especially episode 4, that we gonna get into. Because I know Venkat is dying to get into some stuff from episode 4. So we damn sure gonna get into the stuff from episode 4. But just me watching it, I found myself checking out a lot. Not saying that it wasn't good, because it is good, but I know so much. It's like when you constantly hear this stuff over and over, like how many times can we hear about the Attitude Era? How many times can we hear about the Monday Night Wars? Like, and there was nothing new that came out, with the exception of 2 things that came out, and we'll touch on it, that I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that. But that's gonna be a little later in the show. We'll get to that. But we do have a couple of stories to go over that I want to run through. Some things happened this week, and I do want to get it out. I don't want to push it to the back burner. But Bones hit me up earlier, and he was like, hey man, I watched 3 and 4, so he could keep up, follow us as we go along. So this, and then I told you that my wife's coworker was so fascinated, like, oh my God, this Vince McMahon character. So it is interesting. All right, peace to Michelle. How you say that? Michelle Passwork. As a kid, I remember when Jimmy Snuka sandal broke. So no, my bad. Scandal. Hey, that's me. Don't shout out the Bones in the building. Hey, look at that, man. We got a female over in wrestling. Hey, listen, man, I'm telling you, you guys will get it at some point that we are the best wrestling show on YouTube. It's not conjecture. It's not me just talking. Just like this shirt that I have on now that says TFP on Tuesday nights. It is the best political show on YouTube. We're just waiting for you guys to catch up. And if you didn't check out TFP from last night, go ahead and check it out, man. It was all right, MD. MD's eating dinner. Hey, take your time, MD.
More chicken.
Yeah, more. Hey, MD, I did want to say something to you, man. So if you're listening, I'll ask you when you come up, because I'd be thinking of the most random stuff when I'm on my way home. And I remember you talking about the chicken yesterday. I'm like, oh man, I'm an old fan of wrestling. Used to watch AW. Oh, okay. So you go back to when, like, our times. We got over. I know for me, I've been watching since I was 5 years old. I'm 44, so I've been watching for 39 years. So as we wait for him, I'm actually cooking roasting chicken right now. All right, as we wait for MD, let's get into some of the news. So y'all check out Tafis Politics from last night. It was basically part 2 of Obama Obama's scolding of the black man. So
It was the black man's response to
so
the black Trump supporters.
yeah, the most one-sided. Okay, Venkat, did you see that video that I think it was Ricardo posted in the chat earlier?
No, I didn't. I didn't see anything yet.
With the white preacher. Oh my God, Venkat, you got to watch that video. Because I said if not, I'm going. Okay, I don't know what you got coming up on TFP, but if you don't play it, I'm damn sure going to play it tomorrow for one of the Bible guys, because I want them to hear it and address it. Well, probably not tomorrow, probably be next week. I want Jeremy Dunbar specifically to react to that one, because it was just that insane. So it was basically a white preacher running down, black people for voting for Kamala. You gotta watch the video though. You just gotta watch the video. Yeah, I want to say Ricardo posted it, or Ricardo sent it to me on IG, and then MD went and posted it in the group, something like that. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But I even commented on, I'm like, well, how come Venkat should have found? I'm like, there's a bunch of black preachers that preach this exact same rhetoric on a weekly basis. So yeah, that's why I wanted MD, because MD never answered my question. I don't think. Isn't that against the 501c3 though, that they're basically influencing political views? You can't do that.
Yep. Yeah, they're not supposed to be doing stuff like that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that was the reason that these politicians shouldn't be coming in your churches. That was the reason why the 501c3 was instituted, so you couldn't sway the people politically. And every Sunday you hear these preachers, especially around this time, why this candidate is good, why this candidate isn't good. They have the guys come in and sit on their pulpits and things like that. So it's just like, law be damned, we could do it all in the name of God. So speaking of God, tomorrow night, y'all be sure to check in if you're into the religious topics, as Brother Jackie McCall will be back with one of the most polarizing topics. Peace, Ricardo. One of the most polarizing topics in the Christian community, in the religious world. Should preachers be paid to preach the gospel? That is tomorrow night at 6:30. So with all that being said, let's get into the news of the day before we get into they can only have political influence. They can't campaign a specific. So MD, the video that you posted in the group, wouldn't you say that's campaigning a specific opponent, completely tearing Kamala down? Wouldn't you say that that's what they were doing? Well, we'll wait until you get up. But all right, let's get into the stories.
It's a hard sell for me, and the guys wanting to go get against the jail, man. It's a hard sell.
You got to listen to it. You got to listen to the video, man. So news broke Monday night. Let's get into the first. Sounds like it to me. Let's get into the first story. News broke Monday night. Samantha Irvin leaves WWE. So just hours before the October 21st episode of Monday Night Raw, Samantha Irvin announced her departure as WWE's ring announcer. The news came as a surprise to fans and colleagues, leading to speculation about her future, including whether a move to AEW might be in the cards. So now this comes from Wrestling Observer. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer discussed the situation, explaining that Irvin's decision had been in the works for some time. Alvarez noted she's got outside projects she wants to pursue and couldn't make it work with WWE. Meltzer added that Irvin, who is a singer and a flutist, had been contemplating the move for over a year to focus on her music career. While there's no indication she plans to join AEW, it hasn't been ruled out entirely. Ricochet, her partner, even tweeted that she has no immediate plans to head there, echoing a similar move made by former announcer Lillian Garcia for her own music career. Mike Johnson, a PW insider, confirmed that Irvin left on her own terms, citing a desire to balance family and pursue outside projects and avoid time away from her daughter, even with a reduced WWE schedule. Johnson also noticed that while Irvin gained interest from outside opportunities, she'll likely work under her real name, Samantha Johnson. That's weird. Moving forward, he added that Irvin is believed to have been an employee, not an independent contractor, and isn't bound by any non-compete clause. For now, she's not planning to return to the wrestling world anytime soon. So, Venkat, Samantha Irving, okay. Two parts here, because Twitter made it seem like she just up and quit. Come to find out, they knew about this months ago, and to furthermore prove that they knew about it months ago, they already had Lillian Garcia on deck to step in. So, Samantha, what's your thoughts on Samantha Irving, and what does this mean?
Well, before I go to Samantha Irving, I got to go to the fact of what the hell is Lillian Garcia doing coming in now? Why did she leave before? One thing. Two, why is she coming in right now? Why did she just come in way before or way after?
You didn't hear what I just read? She left for the same reason Samantha Irving. She wanted to pursue a music career. So
exactly,
okay,
exactly. Why? Because it's just like very convenient that this lady's leaving, Samantha Irving, and now you come like the minute she left.
That's why weird. That's why it wasn't a surprise. She already let them know months ago. They already had it. I get what you're saying. That's why it wasn't a surprise.
I don't care. I don't care, but I'm not like the internet people. They're always on some old bullcrap that I don't care about. Like, oh, surprise or not. I don't care about that. A person can leave a place. That's fine. That's okay. What I'm trying to understand is, why did Lillian Garcia have an epiphany? Oh, I need to go back to WWE. Now that there's like an opening or something. Technically, Samantha Irving could have been on the roster doing what she does, and Lillian Garcia could have came in anytime. Last year, 4 years ago, next year, it could have came in anytime. I just don't understand why she came in right now, as she's leaving.
You don't remember seeing her a few weeks ago?
No.
I get what you're saying.
A few weeks ago, it's the same thing as right now. Like you at this moment.
I don't know if you're trying to make this conspiratorial. I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm just thinking how odd it is that you leave WWE because it's no longer viable for you and whatnot. So how is it that now you can come back? It's like when those
she's in her 50s now.
Exactly. Even more ridiculous why she would come now. You would think you would, after all these times being up and down the road, that you would want to have your time to just be older and, live your older lifestyle that you have now. Why are you coming back now? Huh?
They always come back.
Oh my God. There you go, Trevor.
Jesse Ventura's back. They always
Jesse Ventura is not back.
No, you don't believe me? Jesse Ventura signed a contract last week.
Oh,
shout out to Kaya David.
Now you know Vince McMahon really gone if that happened.
What's up, MD?
Peace, what's going on with that?
Not a damn thing. So let me clear this up though. This guy makes no sense. She could do whatever she like. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we ain't. That's not the point here. It came off. Everybody was trying to do the conspiracy thing, like, oh my gosh, she's leaving so she could go to AEW. First of all,
yeah, I'm not tripping on that. Like, again, that's what I'm saying. That's not the issue.
What person in their right mind would want to leave arenas of tens of thousands of people to go ring announce in front of 200 people? First of all, let's get
because your love interest is there. That makes no sense.
Let's get that out of the way first. The reason that she gave is she has a kid. I didn't know she had a child. She has a daughter. And even with WWE's reduced schedule, it still doesn't allow her all the time
that
she needs. She wants to do a music career. And here's the bottom line. MD, you could chime in. Here's the bottom line. We all know that WWE owns her name, Samantha Irvin. Her real name is Samantha Johnson. So she gets her shine off of WWE, which is fine. That's what you do. The Rock did it. Everybody did it. you get your shine, you become big, and now you go out and attack Hollywood or whatever. So what's to say that WWE is like, all right, well, you're doing all these extra projects. We want an executive producer title. Vince McMahon used to do that all the time.
Which
I don't
is
know
ridiculous.
I don't know if Triple H would do that, but what's to say that they wouldn't do that? So she's probably thinking like, well, wait a minute. Even though y'all bigged me up and blew me up, I am now gonna go do this on my own. Kayla Braxton just left not too long ago. And now I don't know what she's really doing, but besides posting pictures online, but that's what these women do. Look at her. It's a beautiful woman. She's not gonna be content with just ring announcing all her life. And not to mention all the thirst traps she leaves online. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts an OnlyFans page soon, just based on the pictures that she posts. Because as a conversation we were having earlier in another group, it doesn't matter how talented these women are. They still can't rely 100% on their talent. They got to show their ass at some point. So,
no, boy, there we go.
I wouldn't be surprised if she does that. But what I'm saying is, there's nothing to see here. I mean, they got the other black girl, Alicia Tyler, but she's doing SmackDown. She's good. They got they got other ring announcers. So to Venkat's point, I guess Venkat is saying, why wouldn't they just bring somebody else up younger? Which is right. And you got Cody's wife. She used to do it under the name Eden. So I get that, but I don't see nothing conspiratorial here. I'm whatever she's gonna do is fine. MD, I'm gonna miss I know MD hated it. The Chelsea Green, I know he hated that, but I'm gonna miss the ring general Gunther and all that stuff. But hey, somebody else will step in, man. I wish her the best. MD, what do you think about Samantha Irvin just leaving?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. She's definitely unique, and the fans rotated around her presence of how she did ring announcer. So she made a name for herself, and kudos to her for standing out. I never took the AEW stuff. Like why would she do that? You know what I'm saying? And just think of it on the back end. What you gonna do with Justin Roberts? You telling me Justin Roberts gonna be on one show and Samantha Irvin on another? Nah, that's not gonna work. It's nonsensical. So I wish her luck in whatever she want to do. I never knew that she could sing until I went to Bad Blood and she sung God Bless America or something. I'm like, oh, she got a beautiful voice. I never knew that.
Apparently she was on one of these music shows before. I'm shocked she's only been in the company for 3 years. So apparently she was on one of these like America's Got Talent type shows. She just sang the national anthem at a Raiders game. So she literally she's talented. Look at her. She looks great. She got the perfect. She has the build. So you're gonna get the talent, the people that love your voice. You're gonna get the guys that love to look at her. So she could ride this for a couple of years. She really could ride this wave.
Yeah. And like I said, I wish her luck in whatever she's trying to do. I don't know what genre she would go in. I mean, would it be a traditional R&B? I don't know. I ain't gonna try to speculate. But whatever she gonna do, cool. Because AEW, that ain't it. Hell, it ain't even it for your fiance. So why would it be it for you? You might have a better position in AEW than he got at the end of the day, but hey, it is what it is. I'm trying to remember. Lillian Garcia was at Bad Blood, I believe. They announced her like as one of the people.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. Yeah. So something was in the water. And hey, why not?
That's why we know it wasn't as abrupt as everybody's making it seem. And I get it. These guys got to get clicks to their websites and stuff. She doesn't come off to me as somebody that's just going to abruptly quit. Like she probably let them know like, hey, this is what I want to do. What can you do schedule wise? And they couldn't reduce it anymore. I mean, because I don't know what she's doing on the road, but it is what it is. I wish her luck. I'm going to miss some of her ring announcement, but after a month or so, I'm not even going to, I'll tune it out. I'm probably won't even think twice about it.
Yeah. It ain't no big deal. Hell, the stuff she posts on Instagram, she can probably just make a killing off that alone.
That's
so
what
she'll
I'm
be all
telling
right.
you. I wouldn't be surprised if she opened up an OnlyFans. I'm telling you, you look at her Twitter feed. Mike said it best. Where that tweet? And she has no issue almost being naked. Absolutely. That's all her feed is ass shots. But I mean, look at all the talented women, the Chloe Baileys and all them that can sing like.
That's disappointing.
They could sing like angels, but they rather point you to their ass. I mean, it is what it is.
Disappointing.
But I know Venkat. We talk about it every Monday, but y'all call us misogynists. It is the culture, that it is the environment that we live in, where women can't rely on just their natural talent. They got to point you to the assets. I mean, it is what it is.
But is that a woman's problem? If their talents are being undervalued, if they're not getting paid a certain amount of money,
how you know she's not getting paid a certain amount of money?
I'm just saying, if you were getting paid a certain amount of money, you wouldn't even need to go there because you'd be generating the dollars, so you wouldn't even have to even entertain that other side of anything.
Oh my God!
I'm just saying.
Mike, I
these women
go on a full ass rant for what Venkat just said, because
we're gonna pretend that there are Hollywood actresses right now that are getting Academy Awards, but yet their pay is not anywhere near the male counterparts.
Didn't Taraji P. Henson just go on a whole diatribe about that?
Exactly, and she's not the only one, and that's what I'm saying. So you know that they're being undervalued for their art, for the work that they do. They're not getting the full value out of it.
You don't get paid for art, sir. You get paid for selling.
Yeah.
Who putting the asses in the seats? Come on now, you know that, Venkat.
That's another issue.
You can be a great thespian. I don't care about you being a great thespian.
People coming to see Cody Rhodes. The only and Roman, the only people coming to see Samantha are the people that's lived in the first couple of rows of seats that could see her in her full glory. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Boy, Mike. I mean, yeah, Mike. Venkat literally just made an argument for OnlyFans models. Man. Wow.
That there is a reason that they go there. So that's the only place that like values what they have to offer. They get paid very well. They get paid extremely well. But in other aspects of business, they don't get paid very well. But the male counterparts get paid. You don't have Usher complaining about what he's making. I'm just saying they undervalue a lot of the things women do. I'm not just saying in general women. I mean, also other men too. But I'm just saying
who is they? When you say they, who are they?
Executives, CEOs.
So not the consumer.
Not the consumer. No.
That's BS, and you know it, Venkat.
Yeah, Venkat,
no, not the consumer.
Bullshit, man.
I'm not the consumer. I'm telling you.
You know it, man.
Hey, Venkat, the whole chat saying it. Venkat on some BS, man.
I don't look for validation through the chat or other individuals.
Hey,
you guys will catch up in like 10, 20, 30 years. I ain't got the time.
Venkat, we get it, but you don't. You the same one who played 3 videos from Brother Africa yesterday yelling at black men. So I mean, it is what it is. Let's all right, let's move on to the next one. Man, he is the title of the next 2 shows, so why not get into a story about him? So and I think MD just put a story in the chat also from the Rolling Stones magazine. So this is going to come up now. So with the Netflix doc out, everybody's going to come out the woodwork and try to get some money up off of Vince, which is fine, especially when we get to episode 4. Former WWE writers speak out against Vince McMahon. So former WWE writers have spoken out about the hostile and sexist environment they experienced under Vince McMahon's leadership. In January 2024, Janelle Grant filed a lawsuit against McMahon, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Christy Lee Yandoli of Rolling Stone interviewed former WWE writers who worked for the company between 2016 and 2022. They described a hostile work environment fueled by fear, with McMahon frequently yelling at the staff. One former writer, Michael Lombardi, recalled being berated just a week before his firing in 2016, despite his prior promotion. So he gave him a raise a week before and promoted him and then fired him right after. Writers said the culture was toxic, with verbal abuse and strict rules like standing when Vince McMahon entered the room and not sneezing in his presence, as he saw it as weakness. Man, McMahon's micromanagement was notorious, often changing scripts right before the show aired. Yandoli also reported sexist behavior, with female writers recalling uncomfortable physical interactions and inappropriate comments about women's bodies. One former writer left WWE because she didn't feel safe as a woman. While a spokesperson for McMahon denied these claims, the writer said about the toxic culture. The writer said the toxic culture went beyond McMahon, with other leaders acting as bullies, possibly to avoid losing their jobs. They also expressed doubt that WWE's culture has changed much after McMahon's departure. So that's what they're saying. But every wrestler that you hear talk about it, they say how things are so much better. But so WWE writers coming out now saying that he basically he was a maniacal man, which we already know. And so Venkat, what do you think about this? And I want to tell y'all a story that I heard over on Post Wrestling. I couldn't believe it. Let me tell you that first, because my memory.
Go to MD first, because I gotta eat some cornballs and ketchup.
Who is this Kaya David? Like, who is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, they own your mic back there. They own your
allegedly, I got to upgrade my diet to cornballs and ketchup. I ain't got no problems with the hateration.
So, okay, so hold on. So let me tell y'all this story real quick. I heard John Pollock tell this story, and I was trying to find it, man. But if John Pollock say it, I kind of buy it. So they said that because Vince McMahon allegedly loved Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was one of his favorite people. So every MLK Day they always do something. They'll play the speech or something like that. I guess more black talent will get some wins on the show. But so they did a segment where they had like Kofi, R-Truth, a couple of other black talent, where they all were lined up. And they were just, reminiscing on how great of a man Martin Luther King was. And then the punchline was supposed to be Neville. Neville, Pac in AEW, was supposed to come into the shot and say, "I have a dream too." And then just pause to win the Royal Rumble. So Neville didn't want to do it. And the writer didn't want it. The writer damn sure didn't want to do it. So the writer changed it. The writer changed the script, and it ended up being better because they changed it to R-Truth being the one to do the punchline. And Vince got so pissed off at the man and I don't know if he fired the writer or not, but he just completely berated him and told him, "Hey, when I say do something, you need to do it this way." Then there's always the stuff of Michael Cole. You hear the stream of him yelling in Michael Cole's ear, telling him, "Do it my way." And it's just, oh my God, this guy, man. MD, what you think about it? What you think about this?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really have a problem with it. If it's done in good faith, based on what the storyline is, and not from a I guess you would say a way of demeaning the I have a dream spirit. I really ain't got no issue with it. That's just me. I can understand why Neville didn't want to do it. Okay, cool. You go to Truth, and actually with Truth, it would way more funnier in that character. But I mean, honestly, I ain't got a problem with it. I mean, it's wrestling at the end of the day, especially with the track record that Vince had. Like, It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Hey, at least he did the tribute every MLK Day. At least he did that.
That's make it good.
At least he did that, bro. And every Raw MLK Day, you knew you was gonna get that tribute beginning of the show.
Venkat, you back?
Yeah, I was just drinking some tea from my chest here. Yeah, go ahead.
What's your thoughts on this? I know you say you were sick, so what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, that Vince threw a tantrum on what's the name because he didn't say the lines. I think it's just classic Vince McMahon. Is what we know of the man to be doing. So none of that surprised me. I never heard that story, but that does not surprise me. I think that's some of the more tame elements of Vince McMahon, to be honest. But it just shows the kind of egomaniac that he is, man. The guy is just almost unredeemable at this point.
So what about people having to stand up when he comes into a room, or you can't sneeze?
I remember I had a job. I was doing tech support for Gateway Computers, and we'll be in our little cubicle. And, that's 14-hour shifts just on the phone. People are real brave when they're on the phone, especially when they tell you to eat cornballs. But, they get real brave. So, you're doing 14 hours of that and whatnot. And then, like, the CEO of the company will come. All of a sudden, we all have to stand up and I'm here trying to fix a problem of a reformat a hard drive or something, trying to save somebody's computer from dying. And I should be able to do whatever the hell I want to do to get comfortable enough to do this tedious ass job. So I totally can relate to that ridiculous egomaniac thing. Well, like he's coming in like he's the presence of God, and like you have to be a certain way and act a certain. Man, that all lines in with that whole anti corporation mindset that I have. I'm not like anti corporation because you need that, but it's the over abuse, and he just exudes it. He didn't even have to try. It's just within him, man. It's just stuff I just can't stand. I can't stand when people bend the knee to this kind of crap. Like you're literally conditioned like little worker ants, and we just go along with a lot of these blatant crap that we see on an everyday basis, and we don't challenge anything. We just docile and oh yes, master. Nah, man, it's not cool.
Hey, real quick, Trail. That article. Oh, real quick, that article that I put up, it was actually about the Ring Boy scandal. So this happened today. Apparently, 5 more people came out, and they just filed a suit today against TKO and Vince and Linda. 5 new, I guess, Ring Boy from that particular scandal. And they said Linda was heavily implicated in it.
But it's because, I wish you would have sent it to me earlier so I could have read through it. It was because of the Netflix doc. Yeah,
definitely.
You're gonna get a million of these people coming up, but yeah. So the Ring Boy stuff, which we touched on last week, we know it was terrible. Peace, Hassan Tahir's show. We knew it was gonna be terrible, and I'm shocked that only the few people that did talked about it. So I'll look over it, and we could put it in the next week's show. But bro, I used to always hear like Bruce Pritchard would always say, "Oh, you can't sneeze around Vince and stuff like that." But I didn't know the reason for it is because he says it's a sign of weakness, like
which is weird.
Like what the hell sneezing? Listen, there's some times where I go on sneezing binges where I'll just sneeze for like 20 times straight. I would hope nobody think that I'm less of a man, but that's crazy, man.
That biologically don't even make sense.
Yeah, that's
unless you got an immune system problem.
That
happens to a lot of people. Where they
when because
you sneeze just based off of irritation.
Yeah. So now you're saying I'm sickly now. That's what you're saying. Hey, AMD, I did want to ask you this because, and like I said, it was in my mind. So when you was talking about the chicken yesterday on Tape's Politics, on my way home today, I just thought about, you ever used to watch the show Atlanta?
Yeah. I watched some of it. I ain't watched the whole thing.
Okay, this was the earlier, like the first few episodes when Paperboy got famous, and I think
they got the JR Crickets.
He went into, I think it was a strip club or something he went into, and the cook was being so weird with him, like, yeah, man, I gave you them wings just like how you like them, extra wet. And I'm just like, bro, why you like,
yeah, they were at JR Crickets.
Oh, that's the same place you went to?
No. JR Crickets. I don't even like JR Crickets. It's another wing spot though.
I'm like, bro, why you acting so sexual over the damn wings though? Like Paperboy even was looking at him like, man, bro, what's going on here? This is crazy. But all right, let's get into the last story before we get into the Vince McMahon stuff. So I'm gonna play a clip here. I can't play what led to this just because it has Undertaker's song in there, and WWE hits my channel every time we do a show. So I'm not messing around with that, but you guys can go look it up. It's Trump, Undertaker, and Kane basically saying, don't be like Kamala, don't be like Batista, vote for Donald Trump. So that prompted a reaction from Batista. So let's get the Batista's reaction first, and then I want to get into a clip from the Undertaker interview with Trump. The only clip that got me wanting to talk about it. So let's get into what Batista said.
Thing that Donald Trump has ever done is divided this country. America will only be great if you vote for me. And that's bullshit. It's not making America great. It's making Donald Trump great. Vote for me so I can pardon myself, do anything I want, and get away with it. Just a regular guy. But when I look up the definition of narcissist, this is who people want running our country. Everything he loses is rigged. When he won in 2016, because he lost the popular vote was rigged. What a whiny little bitch. The fact that he was convicted of 34 felonies. It was rigged. Guilty of fraud because it was rigged. I know why he's so proud. Turning up Roe versus Wade. And the reason is because he's a massive piece of shit. This dude got laughed out of the United Nations. That says a lot. It's gotta be the system's rigged. I hate Taylor Swift in all capital letters. Who's more American than Taylor Swift? Nobody. Talking about Governor Whitmer, who was asking for federal help. He wouldn't return her phone call because she hurt his feelings. Can you think of anything more un-American? Shit all over Obamacare, promising that any week release his health care plan. Next week, we're gonna have something very shortly. It's like nothing you've ever seen, except it never fucking came. We love our country so much, stop fucking shitting on it. I'm like Ali right now. Make America great, let's stop all this hate. Love America again.
All right, so you just heard
from said nothing wrong there.
You just heard
he got it to a T.
You just heard from the animal Batista responding to Donald Trump. There was another video that was so funny, but I couldn't play it because it would have been copyright central, where they parodied a bunch of stuff. They basically had Batista punching Trump, and it was crazy. It was a great video, but obviously you can't play that because it had all the music in there and everything. But
I played that last night on TFP.
Yeah, and that's why my video is blocked in certain regions.
Just edit that part out.
Shout out to Thinking Black in the building. So what was your thoughts on what Batista said? And then I want to ask another question after that.
Well, I'm on 100% behind what Batista said, and what he said, he hit like all the moments, all the topics, all the things that were said. He like collected over the times of the different things he said, how he said it, and he just brought it back. And he was spot on with every one of them. So his attention to detail is just crazy. That's not some people feeding them lines. He's like really telling you what he remembered from Trump, and it's a great point that he's making ultimately, because Donald Trump's way of doing things is through hate. It's always us against them, and it always has to be confrontational, and it has to have a negative edge to it. So that's the only way he knows to do it. So, when Batista says, making America great again, how about trying to love America again? Because a lot of the things he has to present, it always comes from a place of this is messed up, this is bad, this is that. And then you turn around and say how America is great, which is kind of crazy. So kudos to Batista for stating all that and speaking up on it.
MD, what's your thoughts on the animal?
Hey, I couldn't have said it better myself. I haven't saw that video. The only one that I saw was the one he did on, I guess that was Jimmy Kimmel. I saw that video. I'd never seen the TikTok. He was more eloquent in this particular video than the one that he did on Jimmy Kimmel. He hit, like Van said, he hit all the points. He hit them, like spot on. And the events that transpired that created the rhetoric that he uses. Hey, man, sound like Dave Batista been on his stuff. So, hey, I kudos to him. Hey, let me ask you, that's in this picture that you got up now, that's the Undertaker on the left, right? And
with the girl on his lap, that's his daughter.
I was about to say, I was about to ask you, was that Michelle McCool chick? You look kind of different.
No, Michelle McCool was watching.
Oh, okay, that's his daughter. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I got another clip I want to play based off of this scene.
Okay, cool. All right.
No, but so yeah, I mean Batista. So my question is this: knowing Undertaker's politics and his support for Trump, love for Trump, whatever, how do you now feel about Undertaker?
I don't feel any different because he's a WWE guy and he was tight with Vince. Therefore, by association, I can only assume that he had some type of relationship with Trump. So hell, to me, it's expected.
So the way I look at it is, it's not like this is different. This is not like Democrat versus Republican. This is completely different. This is a situation that is way different than any political race ever. And there's a level of irresponsibility here because you're talking about a guy. This is not a new person. He has a track record. He tried to overthrow the government. He's up for 34 charges. He has all this questionable stuff. And if you placed it on a Barack Obama or if you placed it on Hillary Clinton, those same people that are following him right now would be giving the side eye to everybody following them if they were under those situations. So for Undertaker, like you see like conservatives and Republicans that have been Republicans for a long time, even voted for Trump once or twice. But at a certain point when certain things happen, even they're like, I can't co-sign on this. So you can be a Republican. That's not the problem. You can be a conservative. That's not the problem. But you can't continue to dismiss all these very not normal things and then try to stand on being a legitimate, thought-provoking person. And so Undertaker has some respect in the wrestling business for being a straight shooter, coming in from a place of legitimacy in a illegitimate scripted world of professional wrestling. He has a lot of moral and respect in the ring. And so you kind of wonder about like his character a little bit, just a little, because is he thinking party over country? And again, you could want the Republican person to pass no matter how bad they are, because you're just saying, hey, I'm just here for the policies. Cool, fine. But that doesn't mean you have to like do the Happy Negro dance and highlight the person here. So that's kind of disappointing. Again, this is not a normal situation. And to try to correlate this in what we have going in this particular election is ridiculous. This is not John McCain. This is not Mitt Romney. This is not any of those candidates that you may disagree, or I may disagree with the policies, but that's about it. policy differential is different than a guy running for president to avoid prison, a guy looking to fundamentally change the government and use dictator tactics and whatnot, going after political opponents and idolizing Hitler. So that's a different level of to try to wrap that into politics. It just doesn't fly. So for me, it does lose a little something for me from Undertaker. But that's what he wants to do. More power to him.
So I knew, peace, Adam. Thanks for stopping by. I didn't know exactly what Venkat was going to say, because we don't talk about this stuff ahead of time, just so you guys know. I didn't know exactly what he was going to say, though, but I knew what the meat of it was going to be. So let me ask you. So you feel like Undertaker kind of was irresponsible, right, for supporting a guy like this, correct?
There's a little bit of irresponsibility, yeah.
So when I call people irresponsible for wanting to have grace on a murderer that killed his wife and kid, I got a lot of validity to what I'm saying, correct?
No, you don't.
Okay,
because
I knew it.
No,
there we go.
And I can explain.
Hold on, Venkat. You remember on Tuesday I said I was going to say something that was going to make Venkat show his hypocrisy, and
it's not hypocrisy. It's not hypocrisy.
There you go. Right there.
This is why it's not hypocrisy, because you're comparing Undertaker, who, for the best that we know, he doesn't have any sort of mental, issues or injuries or anything that can slight his judgment. As far as we know, he's okay. He's in good health and well-being. You're talking about a guy that murdered his family, that when they looked at his brain, he had a lot of damage there. And that's documented and noted. So to compare a person that's not all there, I don't think that's the same. That's not on the same level.
I'm taking, or let's just say I'm feeling some type of way about the word irresponsibility. Like, I don't believe that Venkat or anybody else should have a position of saying Undertaker is irresponsible based off of his demeanor backstage in the WWE locker room. Politically, I don't think we have that affordability to do that. Yeah, I mean, people say he was a stand-up guy in the back, but we also know he was one of the top guys in the back. I mean, what am I basing that position on from a political perspective? I can't do that. Yeah, you could be a good guy in the back in a wrestling locker room, but you can also be a megalomaniac. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying there, MD, but I'm just saying, in a general sense of the wrestlers, when they talk about Undertaker, there's a huge level of respect for how he carried himself. That's all I'm saying. So it's not like he was behaving like Marjorie Taylor Greene all his life, being kind of reckless. Some of these wrestlers like Sandman and all these other people that live that wild life in the ring and out the ring. Undertaker's not one of those guys. He's a family guy. He's kind of, he's respectable. He seemed to have some morals about him.
So if you don't go off that standard, then you must don't have no respect at all for a person like Kane, because Kane, for all points considered, one of the most intelligent people, real considerate. He's a megalomaniac.
Yeah,
probably more so than the Undertaker.
I know Kane is too. I know he is as well. I'm just saying, it's just kind of disappointing. That's all. I would think like how these conservatives, when they look at January 6th, is a big deal breaker in what he did and how he lied and how he continues to perpetuate the lie and what it's cost. Some people have died. He said they didn't die. It's like there's all this word salad that goes on with it. So it's a really big problem. And now for him to be on the ticket is ridiculous. And he's only running not to make anybody's life better, but to avoid prison time. This is the whole crutch of everything, is to avoid prison time.
Hey, I gotta ask Trev, by chance, do you know how old Undertaker's daughter is?
I want to say she's probably about 13 or 14.
Okay, all right. Going back to your point, Venkat. This photo, and like I said, I ain't trying to be, contentious about what I see here.
Yeah,
but this photo looks very eerily similar, a la Trump and Ivanka, Oprah. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. It's a weird shot. It's a weird decision to do this. I don't know why they did it.
So what it's funny you say that, because there's a lot of heat going around now for Trump's reaction when she came in. So just to set this up, it was just Trump, this co-host guy, and Undertaker. They're doing the thing, they're about to close out, and then Undertaker was like, hey, Michelle is back there and my daughter, like, standing off to the side. So he told his daughter to come out, and Trump was like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. I gotta see, did I clip that part? Because I'm about to play a thing now.
With his history.
Yeah. He was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful and blah blah blah. But people hear that and they like, oh God, here we go now. Which I didn't listen. I'm not that cynical where I can't hear a guy compliment another guy's daughter. Like when we go places and people who haven't seen my daughter in a long time, they'll be like, oh my gosh, she got so big, she's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Now there's no, oh my God, like there's no long pauses and shit, with it. But so I get it. Ricardo, Hulk Hogan actually was in the news again today, but I left work late, so I didn't get to get it. Apparently he pissed somebody off about some gender role stuff. But just the quick overview that I had is nothing to see here. So I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna play this video from a excerpt from this sit down. The part that perked my ears. If you knew nothing they said I cared about, with the exception of this. So here we go.
Quite the quarterback.
But you don't want to go and wrestle a guy like, if you were doing that, because people do that, like your father, right? He's a little too much to handle, right? No, I will get rid of it fast. Men playing in women's sports is insane, okay? It's insane. I mean, I can't even imagine anybody thinking anything other. Like, you have to have borders, right? You have to have fair elections. Where are the people that want it? Have you ever met anybody that said, we want men playing in women's sports? I've never met anybody. I know there's got to be some kind of a movement. I'm going to terminate that immediately. I'll terminate it. I'm not going to let it happen. Yesterday, a volleyball player got hit. Female team where somebody transitioned. And you don't think of volleyball. She got hit. Now, this was a man who transitioned to a woman, and they showed the shot, and it was all girls. There were girls, older, like 18, 19, 20, very good players, like All-American type players, I think a college team or something. And they had the one guy on the one team, and he was up so high in the air, and he smashed that ball. You don't see that. And this ball came at her at a speed that she's never seen, get really whacked her. But other volleyball players were hurt. But the best is weightlifting, where you see a record that stood for like 15 years, and they're putting, an eighth of an ounce on each side of the bar. This better. And then some person that transitioned to a female from a male, have you lifted before? Not much, no. Well, here we are. So he got, they added like 100 pounds to it. He's still lifting. Yeah. So it's crazy. The swimmers too. Look at the swimmers. Yeah. I mean, the swimmers, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
So, and I think it's very demeaning to women. But, she wants to play sports and she wants to play against women. You don't necessarily want to play against men. It's okay, but you don't want to do it. Did you see the boxing match at the Olympic boxing? Did you see the guy?
I did.
Did you see that beautiful Italian girl She's supposed to be a good boxer. She took just a left jab. The guy's up, he goes, boom. That's like a defensive punch. So it goes like that. I never saw it quite like that. She didn't actually go down. She walked back to her corner. She said, I just got hit harder than I've ever been hit before.
It was ridiculous.
Then the corner pushes her back out. You can do it. You can do it. But he goes with another left jab. And she walked off. She said, there's no way I can beat that. Now, there were two people in the Olympics, because I didn't even know they have female boxing. There were two people that transitioned into women. Both of them won the gold medal. Shockingly. Are you shocked to hear that?
Imagine that, right?
How would you like to play this guy? Okay, he decides to transition. I don't think we have to worry about it. Somehow, I don't think we have to worry about it. But this would not be pleasant. Anyway, it's been great being with you guys.
All the pleasures.
All right, so you know of the whole interview. That's what I was gonna harp on. So, and even Ricardo, staunch Trump hater. I agree with Trump on this stance. Again, I always say hot and cold water comes out of the same faucet. Okay. I 100%. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Thinking black. Didn't hear nothing crazy. I'm telling you what
until the end.
What he's saying.
The whole thing was crazy.
Hold on. What he's saying is that's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand the guys that y'all talk to. Just in general, because I don't know a man that I talk to that's in my circle that's gonna be okay with his daughter playing sports with a girl that used to be a man. I just don't know that.
Well, let me say this. And we had this conversation before. I'm in agreement with y'all. No man should be in women's sports. I was with Trump until the end when he sat there and blatantly lied about something that was already proven to be non-factual. And about the boxer. And the bobblehead Undertaker went right along with it. Come on, what are we doing? Why even bring that back up? Why? When it was already debunked. This is crazy.
So you're gonna dismiss everything he said before that?
No, I just said I was with Trump until the end.
I just want to make sure. No, he absolutely was wrong about the boxer because it was just elevated testosterone.
Right. So what does that say about the credibility of Trump? You can't take that away.
Well, he's looking for issues to rail on and something that people could go along with that could simultaneously disparage a group of people or whatnot. But the thing is, he leans in hard on this. And a bunch of bobbleheads, like you say, MD, just goes along with it. But he likes to truncate everything he does and says with a litany of lies. Donald Trump spent $65 million on anti-trans ads talking about people getting surgeries in prison and blah, 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 and how the Biden administration is providing that law. That law was in effect way before Biden. It was in effect during Trump's presidency that he let go by as well. He also manipulated a video making DJ Envy and Charlemagne sound like they were also supporting what he was saying. And all they were doing was reading what was said about the issue and use that part where they just was reading what was said and not what they weren't saying the actual thought about the issue. They were just reading about the issue. They took that video, spliced it in with an anti-trans ad, and they just ran that. So now they're doing a cease and desist on Donald Trump. And this is the problem. The other issue is if you look at this particular issue compared to other issues, how many people are really battling an issue with a trans person in a sport? Get that number across the country. Now add that number up to black men being killed by police. Add that number up to women dying from not being able to have an abortion in certain scenarios and whatnot. And other issues, real pressing issues. And the way he leaned in on that is to use that as a way to get into the people that are already there about their, disagreement, and that's fine. I don't think it is either. As much as I fight for the freedoms and rights for all groups. And I'm unapologetic about it. I don't discriminate. I'm not a trans person. I'm not a gay person. I'm not a white person. I'm not Palestinian. I'm not from Israel, but I can relate to being suppressed, and I can relate to being targeted. So if they're being targeted, then we got a problem all around. It's not just a problem when it's their problem. You know, I mean, you gotta at one point in your life stand up for something. And if you're okay with an issue over here because it's not your issue at the time, then you're a coward. You're a coward. So the other thing I want to say is that Donald Trump, he just leaned into that issue and he told a bunch of mistruths about it in the process. But the people that are bobbling their head, they never get the clarification. Or if by the time it does come, they're willing to either brush it off or ignore it. And that's the problem.
And you know what's probably the craziest part about it? Undertaker probably knew that story had already been debunked. He probably knew that.
It's not, because a lie can travel around the world before the truth gets up in the morning. And the time and energy it takes to retract either a lie, a blatant lie, or a mistake, it takes forever. It takes forever. And by that point, it's already done its job. And he knows that. And he keeps running with what he's doing. And he doesn't care. Look how much time he spent on a non-issue like that. Even with me, I don't think that no damn guy that got his junk cut off and he pretends and puts himself in a dress should now be qualified to be a woman and go up against a woman. That's just some goofy ass coward stuff. That's a non-issue. It's not about that. But they try to morph the issue together with other things. And I don't appreciate that. So, you know, it is what it is, man.
Shout out to Narubin in the building. Narubin says, I would not support a woman who doesn't even acknowledge the fact that she's Tamil. I don't know what that means. Who can't even speak her mother's language. Are you talking about Kamala?
Damn.
Yeah, clarify that, Narubin. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think he's saying that, you know, he's not going to respect her as a candidate because I guess he's not bracing her Indian roots, I guess. Damn, that's a new one to me. Damn.
Yeah. Nothing. So this, I'm not even going to because I'm already being accused of being a bigot and all that stuff. So I now naturally I picked this clip just because it was the most interesting thing in the show, because the whole interview just came off as like a slurp fest. Undertaker was just so happy to be there.
Oh my God, I never heard that one.
So, but this one, y'all know whenever I hear stuff like this, going to perk my ears up. But so there is a video, I tried to send it to you guys, that my wife sent me, that was actually going on in our school system here, where the school board members had to be escorted out because of this same issue. Like they were saying how, oh, you guys are allowing sex changes right in the school. I don't know where these people get these information from, but and then it got to the whole, oh, it's because you took God out of the classrooms and this and that. So you could always get into that conversation. But I would just say, don't think that it's not as big of an issue just because you don't care about it. Because I would say that I said this, I don't see why the abortion deal is still such a big issue. We should be past that now as a country, but we're not. And you'd like to say that, oh, this isn't such a big deal and this and that. But again, there's certain stories I have to look at more personable because I have a young child that's going through the school system. And our school system allows, you know, certain things. And I don't want it to get to a point where she's coming home to me telling me, hey, I didn't make the track team, or hey, I didn't make the soccer team because a boy beat me out. You know, it is so yeah, he's leaning into us that like that type of stuff. But again, and I don't have to keep reiterating this, I'm not Team Trump. Some stuff that he says speaks to the man in me. It does. I mean, and there's nothing wrong. The problem with this country is this country so pussified, and you can't say anything. I was having this conversation with Zay earlier. It's to a point now where you can't say anything. You offend everybody. When I say Chinaman, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. It's like nothing you could say. Everything you say is offensive to everybody now. And sometimes you get a guy that'll come along and you know he full of shit, but at the point is like a rah-rah thing, like, oh man, yeah, rah-rah, you know, let's get him, even though you know what he's saying ain't gonna work. We already know who the more qualified candidate is. We done been through that over and over. We know that. But certain times, just like even with Ron DeSantis, I don't think Ron DeSantis is any good, but sometimes he'll do a thing or he'll say a thing where I'm like, oh my goodness, bro, that's what plays to me. I don't like the fact that when you can go into a Target down here, and men could use the same bathroom as my little girl just because they feel like they want to be a woman today. That's crazy. So I do have a right to call that type of crap out, because everything in this world is accepted. And I'm a land right here so we can move on. Everything in this world is accepted, with the exception of being a straight male in this damn country. You accept everything else. Yes, you accept everything else but being a straight man. That's the most vilified thing in this damn country, is being a straight man.
I don't think so.
You're so accepting of everything else. You got to kowtow to everything. You got to be accepting to this. You can't say that. You can't say this. But we could always assassinate masculinity. We assassinate masculinity, and dare I say Wayne's line with the mommy politics, and you pussify everything. You got little boys, when they talk, they slur. It's crazy. Like it's just ridiculous. Manhood is under attack. It is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. It's really not. Trump just used a tactic where he rolled up in a dough, a point that could latch on to certain people, and he tried to make that a contentious moment so that he could stand out and try to get a vote. That's what he did. That's all he did. But
I'm not gonna go that far. Back before I would say the early of 20th century, you know who said the same exact thing? White folks about niggas. I mean, if you give everybody equal rights, you don't have this issue. You just don't. And again, the whole aspect of the women in the sport, like that's indisputable. I'm not even talking about that.
Exactly.
I'm talking about in the context of rights, no matter what your ethnicity, background, nationality, race, all of that. It's a mindset at the end of the day. The same way that you acquiesce in your grievances about masculinity today, white folks did that about blackness pre-civil rights movement. So on and so forth. It's a mentality at the end of the day. I get it. I understand it. But you have to understand the implications from a legal standpoint as to what we talk about. If you can get that mindset, everybody will be okay. We'll be living damn near in a utopia. But hey, can't do it.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about the
utopia. I promise you.
I don't know about the utopia. Anthony Marzano, Trevor, the question is, watch this documentary on Mr. McMahon. You really think they're gonna wait? You really think they went in on him because of stuff that they didn't really cover in this documentary? I think they're no, I don't. No, so I only watched the first 4 episodes, just so you know. I think people are coming after him more because the documentary is opening up old wounds with like I stated earlier. MD posted the story about the ring boy. The ring boy scandal happened in the 80s, but hey, you sometimes you suppress that stuff, and then somebody comes along and say, hey, you remember this thing happened in the 80s? And somebody's like, oh my goodness, I remember, I was part of that crew. Let me talk about it. And then you have these type of spaces now. It's just like anything. We didn't have this many voices at one time. you could only run to your Donahues, your Oprahs, your Ricky Lakes, those type of people, your Sally Jesse Raphaels. Now you got random, I hate to say because I don't know the race of the people in the chat, but I'll just say it. Now you got random nigga X like me on the internet with a microphone. So it's just like, you know, now you can just say whatever you want.
It's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh, yo,
it's good too. It's good.
Hey, we can't agree on that, Venkat. Trust me, we can't.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad.
We can't agree on that, boy, because my goodness. So let's man, okay. I see, that's what I'm saying, man. Wrestling with reality. You're not gonna get this anywhere else. Everybody gonna break down moves and catch can and give you 10-star matches and all that. They not gonna go in depth and give you the political side of anything. That's why you come on over here. So now let's get into the Vince McMahon documentary. And MD, I don't know if you heard it, but I said it earlier. It's not that I didn't like episode 3 and 4. Episode 3 and 4 to me came off like nothing to see here, because I've been in this for almost 40 years. Everything they talked about, it was just, they rehash it every 5 years. So it's like, how many times can you talk about the screw job? And they weren't adding any new insight, with the exception of one thing that I heard. And I'm going to tell you about it. There was one thing I heard on the whole screw job thing that I was like, oh boy, I didn't know that. And then we'll obviously get into episode 4, because I know Venkat wants to, he gonna rail like crazy off of that one. But Venkat, what were your thoughts on episode 3? It was entitled Screw Job. So the way, I do like the way it started, and I think this is what threw me off, because the way it started, they went and told a Wendy Richter story.
Yep, which was great.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is what we're gonna get. And then when they start going into the Montreal screw job, I'm like, oh man, I don't want this. So they talk about the Wendy Richter story, and Vince basically saying he wanted the belt off of her. So this was the thing that stood out to me about what he said concerning the Wendy Richter thing. Vince said, "This is show business. I'm writing the script. You're holding my title, not yours." So that was, when I heard that, I'm like, man, and this is Vince saying this. This isn't somebody secondhand saying this. He's literally saying you're holding my title, because he wanted Wendy Richter to lose the belt and she didn't want to lose it. I don't even know who he wanted her to lose it to. I mean, I know they did the Spider Lady thing to get the belt off of her, but that's not who he originally wanted her to use it to. They didn't lose it to. They didn't even say the girl's name. But what, Venkat, the show opens up with the Wendy Richter thing, and I'm like, oh my God, we about to get into some business here, because I'm like, I don't know too much about this, so this is going to be compelling. But they only did it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but it was a great place to start, because I didn't know about that, and if I did, I must have long forgot it. But I don't believe I knew about that issue, so it was great, because it showed a precedent. It established a way of Vince in this situation already. So that was great that they put that there. Yeah, I agree with you. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of it, but there was enough there that we understood. And like, for me, I'm just like you. I'm pretty much tired of anything about the screw job. I think it's blown out more than what it really is. It's a big deal, don't get me wrong, even though I didn't care about it, even in the day that it happened. But I think in years since it's happened, they're like over dramatizing it and rehashing it over and over. I think I got like 2 or 3 screw job related DVDs in my house right now.
Yeah.
On top of whatever the network, whatever Peacock got as well. So it's just so overbearing how many times they do. I wish they would go more into other areas in wrestling and give us those stories. But I mean, I understand it. And to your point, these are a lot of these like known issues and stories are well known. But with the documentary, you have to go through it. Maybe the thing would have been to shorten it, but it is a big pivotal moment that does add to Vince McMahon's character trait in his decision makings and what he does to people. So I guess they felt they had to go in and lean on it. So I understand. I mean, that's a big deal that you just can't gloss over it. But again, that's a story I know. I liked it regardless, but I would be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to what's coming. So that's my point.
So to your point though, Venkat, because the way they started it, they set it up to show. I know why they did it with that, to show you it was a precedent that the screw job wasn't the initial thing. But you know what was real interesting? So after they did what they did to Wendy Richter, because you clearly see her arm was up at 1, and the referee just didn't give a shit. He just kept counting.
It's ridiculous.
And Vince, they asked Vince, how did you feel about it? He said, I didn't care. And then you never saw Wendy Richter again after that, which was insane. But back then,
and Wendy Richter is Jake the Snake's sister, right?
Yeah, she's something like that. Sam Roberts' wife, or not Sam Roberts, Sam, the skinny guy. Oh my goodness,
Sam
Houston. Or he's married to Baby Doll, something like that. There's a whole bunch of craziness going on in there. But you know what's weird is that back then he had to do stuff like that. Whereas now, if he was like, hey, you're dropping the title, then you just drop the title. Versus back then, you know the story. They're second cousins. Okay. So you know the story. The reason why Macho Man won the tournament at WrestleMania 4 is because Honky Tonk Man didn't want to lose the IC title. So to Macho Man, so they had to pivot and have Macho Man win the tournament, which had he won the IC title, then the $1 Million Man would have ended up winning the tournament, which, I mean, it would have been good for $1 Million Man to be champion. But back then you could hold Vince up for the title. Ultimate Warrior not wanting to do business and stuff like that. So MD, like what was your thoughts on the Wendy Richter situation?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird watching it at first because I thought they were going to the story, but obviously they did it just to set a precedent as to what the mentality was, what Vince was capable of in terms of the screw job story. And again, to y'all point, you done heard it one time, you done heard it 1,000 times. So, it wasn't much to it. I wish in between them telling the story of trying to replace Hogan, because Hogan was going to WCW and, the whole Lex Luger situation, I wish Vince would have, I guess, been more revealing as to what he really thought about making Bret the face at the particular time when Lex didn't turn out, the way he wanted it to. I wish they could have got Lex on there.
Yeah.
But it's like they passed over that, saying, they put the machine behind Lex, and then all of a sudden, you got this guy Bret, an ultra baby face, and I wish they could have told more of that story on how Vince really felt about even doing that. You know what I mean? So, I think that would have revealed a lot about how he really feel about Bret from the onset. You know what I'm saying?
They really shit on Lex Luger on this. Anthony saying, who were second cousins? You saying he married his second cousin? Is that what you're saying? So
no, I think he wants you to respond to the comment that I have on the screen here.
Oh, I think it's just Bret complaining about. Yeah, listen, man. Bret Hart is a C+ player if I ever seen one.
Oh boy, there we go.
And man, you talk about somebody who just complains. I just felt like this was the Bret Hart complain show, and I think that could have been too why I tuned out of it. But
he did have moments where even I was saying, "Oh my God, Bret's making this about him." This is the Vince McMahon's documentary.
Exactly. This was the Bret Hart show. So they go back to the steroid trial where Hogan's on the stand. So now Hogan said this emphatically. Hogan was like, hey, they called me in as their star witness because they knew, they were like, hey, you're not with the company anymore. You could bury Vince. And they were saying, if you don't say what we want you to say, we'll we're gonna put all the heat on you. That's what Hogan says. I find that hard to believe that he could take, knowing all of that, he would have still took the stand and testified the way he did. So Hogan basically said Vince wasn't the distributor of the steroids. Yeah, he knew that they were around, but he wasn't the distributor. The case was they were trying to say Vince was the distributor. Vince wasn't the distributor. At least he was found in court that way.
But you would think if they said that he was aware of the activity going on in his promotion and not do anything about it, he does have some sort of responsibility there, don't he?
It wasn't illegal then, though. Wasn't illegal. The distribution
sounds kind of wild. Well, you got guys in train wrecks every week, and they're getting these prescriptions and they're abusing it. Sounds kind of predatory to come right to the wrestlers like that. They didn't even let the wrestlers go out and seek it themselves. He's bringing it to the locker room.
But that was Zahorian. That was Dr. Zahorian doing that.
Yeah. And remember what they said. Had he put Zahorian on the actual payroll, he would have been responsible, but he didn't do that.
Yeah, because remember, Zahorian was appointed by the state athletic commission. So he had nothing to do with them. Bones, somebody stop disrespecting Brett. So in the beginning of the episode shocked me. I thought it would say Medusa. Yeah, they never talked about Medusa throwing the title in the trash. But hey, I know about these documentaries. Even though it wasn't a WWE product, they still aren't trying to 100% paint Vince in like the worst light. So the verdict was in, and Vince McMahon was found not guilty. Vince set out to find his new Hulk Hogan, who had left for WCW. So they mentioned Lex Luger. So I'm gonna tell y'all, I remember the Lex Express thing. Lex Luger was over. I don't want to hear nobody tell me Lex Luger wasn't connecting with the audience or none of that's bull crap. Lex Luger was over. When Lex Luger showed up on the Intrepid and slammed Yokozuna, that was like the biggest thing that, of that time period, that he was over. Because remember, he was a narcissist a few weeks earlier. And then he comes on the Intrepid.
Was it a year early? Royal Rumble 92 or something like that?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because Mania was in March, April. So he just was the narcissist, and he ended up because I remember like it was yesterday. Vince McMahon was like, "Oh, we didn't have a hero." My voice hurt right now, so I can't do it. But he was like, the evil Japanese guy was gonna desecrate the American flag, and then all of a sudden, a hero comes out of the sky. It's American-made Lex Luger, and Luger hit him with the bionic elbow. Yoko jumped into the slam, and Luger got him over though. It looked good, and he was set. They did the Lex Express thing. They did a music video about it. They interviewed the bus driver. All they had to do was do the right thing and let the man not win the match by a count out and celebrate like an idiot. That's what killed him dead. If anything killed him dead, it was that. It wasn't him not getting over. And the rumor is that another Vince McMahonism is that he was telling everybody at the bar the night before that he was going to win the title. Vince found out and got pissed and changed the plans. So it ain't no Lex didn't get over.
Wow.
Stop with that bull crap. That's not
wow.
it. They even have a picture with him with the title. They were videotaping tapings with him as the champion. So they already had the promotional stuff with him with the belt. So don't tell me that the fans wasn't getting behind him. The fans was getting behind him. The man was over. But Vince McMahon, you can hear from anybody. The rumor is the night before or that weekend, because it was on a Sunday. So yeah, maybe that Friday or Saturday, they were out at the bar and he was popping off at the mouth, telling everybody he was going to be champion soon. And Vince heard about it, and Vince was like, okay, I'm going to fix you. And he just killed him dead. Vince is the type of guy, what's the saying? You cut off your hand to spite you, whatever it is, but he's that type of guy. He's an idiot.
That guy is petty as hell, man.
That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Was Lex Luger ever going to be Hogan? No, nobody could be Hulk Hogan. But would Lex Luger had been a hell of a champion for a year? Absolutely. cut off your nose to spite your face. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man, that's like Vince McMahon is an idiot, man. What
Well, he should just let Lex Luger be Lex Luger. I mean, it's
man,
crazy.
Lex Luger was awesome, man. I remember Luger and the Horsemen and all that. But MD, what's your thoughts on Luger? Like them basically just dismissing him as he couldn't get over with the fans. That wasn't true.
Yeah.
It wasn't true at all.
Yeah, like I said, I wish they could have at least got Lex just for that particular segment of the show, so he could tell what's what. I do believe they did. Maybe it was last year. Luke, and I believe it's on YouTube. You know, he went like through the whole anthology of him in WWE.
Oh,
and you know, he never like brought that up as what happened. You know, he was just talking about the matches and all that. It's unfortunate because, like you said, he was over. You know, that's one of my earliest memories of WWL was the Intrepid and the Slam. So, you know, he was over. At least in my eyes, he was over. And then you look at the new generation of who he would have been facing. I would have loved to see Luger versus Diesel at some point in time. Luger and Psycho C and Luger and Shawn Michaels. Those matches would have been great. You know, in the context of what it was at that particular time. So it's unfortunate. I think they could have did a better job at telling that part of the story leading up to Brett. You know, I thought they dropped the ball on that. You didn't have to take a long time doing it.
Did you see that video of Lex Luger not winning, and the audience is like screaming bullshit, bull, and then Vince McMahon is right there at the commentator table just saying, "Hey, listen to the crowd. They're disgusted. They're disgusted." Oh my God!
You talking about that SummerSlam?
Oh my God! It was ridiculous. I was watching that 2 nights ago. I'm like, oh my God, this idiot! And then when he was coming to the ring, he was saying, "Oh, he's going to be the new WWF champion."
and they had him coming out to that. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, come on, bro. And, okay, and then if you wasn't even gonna have him win the belt, why drop all the confetti? They just made the guy look like an idiot, man. They made Lex Luger look so bad.
But on the rewriting of history on these WWE retrospectives, they're blaming Lex for not being dedicated. On the A&E Lex Luger documentary, they're talking about Lex Luger trying to leave autograph signings and whatnot because he has to go to the weight room because he has to go eat to keep his weight up and blah blah blah.
Well, I don't not believe that, but they're making it seem like Lex Luger wasn't over. That's the problem. Lex Luger would have been just as good a champion as Bret Hart. I always say British Bulldog would have been just as good in that position as Bret Hart was. And y'all may think I'm not shitting on Bret Hart. I'm just saying we overvalue Bret Hart. Listen to this.
Bret Hart is pretty damn good, though. Come on, Trevor.
Listen to this line from Bret Hart. I had to write this because this was so funny. So after they say that Lex Luger couldn't get over with the fans, which is stupid, so now they say, in comes Bret Hart. In Bret Hart's own words, now this is Bret Hart, they needed to replace Hogan, and the guy that pulled the sword out of the stone was Bret Hart. Man, like, come on, man.
Now, real quick, going back to Luger, didn't Vince feel some type of way with him before with the whole WBF thing and him getting injured? And
no,
I think he was.
No, but
he brought him in for the WBF. He didn't want him to wrestle.
Right, but I'm saying, I remember this part. He was, they were supposed to do the first pay-per-view, WBF pay-per-view, and he got hurt. I think he had like an accident or something.
Yeah.
And they were saying that Vince held a grudge against him about that.
I think maybe that's what caused the metal to be in the arm, was that motorcycle accident.
Yeah,
a motorcycle accident. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it was weird. You bring in Lex Luger, you don't bring him in to wrestle. You bring him in for this stupid. Well, bodybuilding was big back then, so I ain't gonna say stupid.
WBF.
Yeah, you bring him in for that stuff, but you don't have him wrestle. That's crazy. When we just saw him,
I remember
back in
Jesse Ventura had the debuted in WCW, and Jesse Ventura signed this. He signed this Vince McMahon. He's like, these guys out here dealing with the bodybuilding, there ain't no money in that, man. I tell you that for sure, Jack.
Bones, just so you know, because I know you know who you're dealing with, but Lex Luger and Sting versus the Steiner Brothers, one of the greatest tag team matches ever.
Ever.
Lex Luger versus Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
Just name any one of them.
Yep. Lex Luger against Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, Lex Luger, Barry Windham. Hey, don't listen, man. Stop minimizing Lex Luger. I know he did the I know he did that a lot, but stop minimizing Lex Luger, man. Lex Luger was over. When they kicked him out of the Horsemen, you thought for sure he was going to be the one to take that belt from Flair, but Flair
they had a lot of good matches too with Flair and Luger.
He had already promised it to Sting though, so he wasn't going to drop it to Luger. But Luger is that dude, man. So all right, so here go Mr. Sword in the Stone here, Bret Hart. So in comes a new generation. So I do like that they were saying how WWE was literally hemorrhaging money, and they showed a shot where they went from being in an arena to being in a high school gym. That was very like. If that was a WWE product, there's no way they would have let that in that video. No way.
Right. That's true.
So I give them credit for that, because the rumors are that Vince was having them take the water coolers out of Titan Towers because they were just hemorrhaging money. So Vince says when he found out that WCW was going head to head on Monday night, so I'd never heard this before. Because you always hear them say Vince never sold it, and Vince was like, oh, let them go up against us and we'll crush them. This was Vince's words. Vince said when he found out WCW was going head to head against them, he said, uh-oh, we're in trouble. I felt like they were going to put me out of business. We have never heard him say that before. It's always been, oh, when Vince heard about it, he was like, let them come up. We'll crush them. That was always what you heard. But to hear him say, hey, man, I was afraid. I thought they were going to put me out of business, because WCW had Hogan, they had Luger, they had Sting, they had Macho Man. They were going to get Hall and Nash. They had all the guys that people wanted to see. Meanwhile, WWF had TL Hopper and Mantar and, Men on a Mission, like just the foolishness, just stupidity. So if you can minimize Bret, then I can minimize Luger. so and one of my comments in here, they rehash a bunch of the Monday Night War stuff, because that's where it that's where it came in. So one other interesting note I got from the Monday Night War thing, this was very interesting. So remember last week when we were talking about, hey, you had the Ring Boy scandal, you had this, you had that. But the head of USA was like, "Oh no! If they found Vince guilty of the steroids, we were going to shut him down." Exactly. So we had another moment like that in this. So they still had the Ring Boy scandal. They still had the steroid thing he had just gotten over. Every other scandal that
plus the graping.
Yeah, the one with Rita Chatterton. Yeah, with Rita Chatterton.
Yep.
They had all of that. And so this is what the network got mad at, was the Billionaire Ted skits. It was the USA Network that made them stop doing it. Man, when I heard that, I was floored. I was like, what? It was the USA Network that made them stop doing it, because the owner of USA is friends with Ted Turner.
So essentially they're saying you can commit as many crimes and essays as you want to, but when you start talking about Ted Turner, brother, you're pushing it too far.
Just insane.
Ted was a big deal back then.
but think about it, MD. The SA didn't do it. The Ring Boy scandal didn't do it. The steroids didn't do it. But the network steps in when you doing billionaire Ted skits.
It just doesn't work for me, brother.
Crazy, bro. Like, oh my!
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So let's fast forward to the curtain call. This was very interesting because for a lot of years I didn't know how to say the word. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I didn't know how you say kayfabe. I didn't know. I would say everything but kayfabe. So they start talking about the kayfabe thing, and this we're gonna start building a case of how much of a piece of trash Vince McMahon is. So Scott Hall,
he's one of the trashiest.
Scott Hall and Razor Ramon are getting ready to leave to go to WCW. No, Anthony, that's the next episode. We're doing that after this one. Just sit tight. We get into the curtain call. So Shawn Michaels said, "Hey, Razor and Scott are leaving. No, Razor is Scott. So he's saying Hall and Nash are leaving. Do you mind if we do something?" He went straight to Vince. Vince McMahon was like, if it was anybody else, he would have been like, no, but he was like, those guys, go ahead. So to his credit, he didn't know what they wanted to do, but he was like, so we're going to do something. So they're in Madison Square Garden. The match is over. The Clique comes in the ring, and then they embrace. And so now everybody's pissed now because they're like, oh, they got Undertaker, Venkat's favorite wrestler. Like, oh man, Undertaker said if he was there that night, he probably would have beat somebody's ass because it was that devastating. But then it's funny, you have Cody Rhodes being interviewed and he's like, oh man, I don't really think it was that bad. I'm like, that's weird hearing him say that, knowing that his dad is who he is and the way he tried to protect the business. But the infamous curtain call. So you get the curtain call where the heels and baby faces break character. Let's not forget, though, Vince McMahon greenlit it. Vince McMahon said it was okay. And I feel like if it wasn't because people were saying, man, you shouldn't have done this, he would have been okay with it. Hall and Nash are leaving. Shawn Michaels is his champion, so he can't do anything to him. So shit rolls downhill, and now Triple H has to hold the bag for everything that happened. Triple H was supposed to win King of the Ring. They took it from him, and it went to Austin. I mean, he won it the following year, but he was supposed to win it that year. So MD, we got the curtain call. You had already started watching by then, so I know you. I don't know if you knew about. I didn't hear about the curtain call till years later because I wasn't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, dirt sheets and all that stuff. So I don't know. Sean's dumbass took it there with the curtain call tribute without hugging all over each other. I mean, Bones. It was a MSG show. Like, and the person that was there recording it, you heard the fans going crazy. So it's not like the fans was like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" I think at that point we kind of knew that these guys weren't real enemies. I mean, I would hope at that point everybody knew that, hey, maybe this isn't too, it's not like Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan getting fired for being caught riding together.
But Trevor,
go ahead.
Listen to the hypocrisy here with Vince McMahon. Wasn't Vince McMahon the same guy in the mid 80s? Not only the 90s, the mid 80s. I can remember reading an article in TV Guide, WrestleMania 89, WrestleMania 5, him talking about how wrestling is sports entertainment.
Yep.
And how people don't want to be insulted.
Yep.
What we do here is storytelling and blah, blah, blah. He emphasized the hell out of that, made the territories pissed, talking about his negligence about the kayfabe and all that sort of stuff. Now this situation in the mid-90s happened, and because he got a reaction from certain people in the backstage area after the fact, he's like, well, I got to punish somebody. And of course, it's Triple H, which is not right. That's just not right. But Vince McMahon, man, he's up and down and all around. Like, it's just weird, man. It's
so funny that Triple H is the one that took over for him after all this. Like, he get to bang his daughter, and he basically took his took his power from him. That's crazy. Like, you talk about poetic justice. MD, you didn't know about this when it happened, but did this type of stuff bother you?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, they could have done it as long as it was put in the proper context. And at the end of the day, it was a house show. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I can understand the reason behind kayfabe and why certain people would have been upset about it, but you got to put it in the proper context, especially in that pivotal moment. Like, the click was the click. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we got more context later on, but yeah, it shouldn't have been an issue. And if it all would have been an issue, and then you wanted to have your thumb on what was going on with the card, you should have asked, like, okay, what's going on? We're like, what are y'all doing? You didn't do it. So
Vince McMahon greenlit it.
Exactly. So there's that. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, maybe we would have saw more of a pedigree, no pun intended, of the career of Triple H had that not happened, or had it would have been not worried about as much. You know what I mean? And then of course we know about the King of the Ring stuff. What the hog pen match and all that stuff he did after that. Like, come on, like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember watching the Triple H documentary, The King of Kings, and he was saying how he felt like a year straight he was in hog pen matches losing.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, but you have these, oh my God, you have these guys, and you just your objective is to make money with them,
right. Right.
I mean,
that shows the decision making. It's not about what's best for business. It's about what's best for his ego.
Oh my God, man, this guy. So in a twist of irony, Vince McMahon sued Ted Turner over the way they portrayed Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. But this is the same Vince McMahon.
Too.
This is the same Vince McMahon that literally went into the AWA and took every wrestler they had. This is the same Vince McMahon that set out to purposely shut down the territory system. This is the same Vince McMahon that said after WrestleMania, I don't know if it's good for the wrestling business. It was good for my business, though. That's all that matters. So now, because Ted Turner is like, hey, open the pocketbook and get whoever you want and go against them, now he's crying. Like, they really made Vince come off like a little baby. Yep. with the whining that he was doing and suing Turner. And I remember it kind of minimized it when they showed the Great American Bash before they powerbombed Eric Bischoff. They had to come out and say, first of all, do you work for the WWF? And they had to basically break character and be like, no. Do you? No. And then they go back in the character and be like, hey, you know what? We're sick and tired. That, oh my goodness, bro. Like it just, man, when I got to go watch all this stuff over again, I'm starting to realize, man,
what I've been saying all this time is true.
He's not my hero like he used to be, man.
The other thing too is he's trying to say that the Razor Ramon, that's WWE intellectual property, right? So the thing with that is that Scott Hall was Razor Ramon before he was in WWE. He was Razor Ramon in WCW. He was a diamond stud, same mannerisms, same things, same kind of look, same attitude. It was the same stuff. He was doing the same things. He just wasn't called Razor Ramon. So when he came back at Scott Hall to WCW, he was doing what he was doing as Diamond Stud. Same stuff. And he tried to sue WCW for that. It's just crazy. He's Scott Hall. That's what he was doing. He was just doing those mannerisms way before then. And he was a Diamond Stud in 91.
Yeah. Yeah. You ain't get no no retort from me. You absolutely.
Kevin Nash, a different story. He was the lamest characters of all time. Oz,
Master Blaster,
Vinny Vegas. Yeah. So I can't vouch for Kevin Nash, but Scott Hall,
but in WWF he was an actual truck. he was portraying a truck. Diesel was a truck.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So Vince was realizing he was losing all his wrestlers. And that's when he signed Bret Hart to the 20-year contract that we talked about during the Bret Hart episode. And then he realized he couldn't pay it. So he was like, hey, I'll breach this contract, but you could use it to see if you can get a better deal with WCW. Cue the Montreal screw job. So I wrote on here, Vince McMahon is an effing kid. He said he wanted to be out there, so Bret knew he took back what was his, the WWF title. So here it is again. It's all coming full circle. Wendy Richter, he said, I'm the script writer. It's not your title, it's my title. Then he says with Bret Hart, I want to be out there so you know I'm the one that's screwing you. So it did come all full circle. We done talked about the Montreal screw job to death. Anything you guys want to add onto it?
Nah, man, that's it.
That's it, Trim.
So this is the piece of news that I said, I'm like, man, I didn't know this. For years, everything that I've watched said that Bret Hart told that Vince walked to the locker room and told Bret, like, oh man, I really got you. So I'm going to let you get one off on me. Everybody said that. That's what you always heard. And Bret Hart told him, I'm a shower. And if you're still here, I'm going to knock you out. That's always been the story ever since this happened. So now in this, Bret Hart says, no, that's not what happened. He said what happened is that Vince lunged at him and they both, like, Vince went in there to go fight him. We never heard that before. So now Bret Hart is saying Vince is going in there to go fight him and they locked up and you got all the wrestlers trying to break it up. And Triple H even he even corroborated this. He was like, I don't know how Bret managed to get his arm through the sea of people holding him back. But Bret was like, I slipped my arm through and caught him with the cleanest uppercut ever. And it just knocked him straight out like a cartoon character. Hey, man, when I heard that, it's all, even when I, like with the Dusty Rhodes thing last week, when I heard about the Dusty Rhodes thing, I was like, man, why is my mind stuck on this? Every time I've been hearing about the Montreal screw job is always Bret Hart told him, stay right there. When I shower, if you're there when I get back, I'm going to knock you out. Now Bret Hart is saying, no. We locked up and I was able to get a clean shot off on him. I don't know, man. That just makes the story a whole lot better to me.
So what this does is it proves the lies of WWE, more specifically Vince McMahon. Because when we heard those stories about how it happened, who was the one in control of telling us what happened? It was WWE every time, with their video packages, their documentaries, their little segments. They're the ones giving us that information. But once the arena is set for a actual truthful telling of what really happened, you see a completely different way of the circumstances coming together. So now you question everything now. 93,000. You question all these things.
I'm not questioning the 93,000.
Come on, man. You're gonna believe a company that's been notorious for lying about wrestling history, lying about things that have occurred during events. That's their bread and butter. I remember reading that in the wrestling. I would get wrestling magazines every week when I was walking to school. Just stop off at that store, buy me another wrestling magazine. I'm reading all those magazines. And they always talked about WWF's unwillingness to respect wrestling past and certain storylines. Like a guy could be in WWF 2 years before, be gone for 2 years, come back as a completely different character and act like they don't know who he is. They never acknowledge things. They don't acknowledge things that happen outside of WWF. They always retell stories to suit them best. And it doesn't end with wrestling storylines. It extends out to everything, from the stats that they give you, the stories they tell you. And I think that story points to, because something like that, why would a person lie about it? Just say what it is. Because it doesn't make Vince McMahon look good. So he had to get ahead of it, make it sound like he was more hardcore and honorable. Take a shot, man. Go ahead and take a shot. Like he's so badass. Instead of he just got his ass popped and just fell out. So every little thing is just, it's Trump 2.0. Every little image just matters like that.
I go ahead, MD. Go ahead, because I real quick, MD. I give Bret Hart credit, and I bump him up a whole letter grade if he was able to land a uppercut in between a bunch of people to give Vince McMahon that shiner on his eye. Hey, you go up a whole letter grade for that one. Go ahead, MD.
So he's B plus now. He's B plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, you know, he looked too badass on that Wrestling with Shadows documentary, you know, stumbling down the hallway. So I mean, you know, I mean, you can say what you want as far as toughness and all. At the end of the day, we did know he got his ass knocked out. That was a fact. How it happened, hey, that was up to speculation. I'm glad that we got a better viewpoint, and it wasn't challenged. You know what I'm saying? So. And for all means, I mean, how tough can you look? You know you did somebody dirty. Giving them a shot, you know, that's something in humility at the end of the day. So I mean, I never looked at it as, okay, yeah, that's Vince being tough and taking one for the team and all. Nah, bro. Not in that situation. You know, you get your ass knocked.
You giving somebody a clean shot, MD?
Hell no.
Exactly.
No, you got to take me out. Yeah. That's the only way I'm going down.
I'm not giving you no clean shot. What's wrong with you? That's crazy. I don't care what I just did to you. You're not getting a clean shot on me. But that, hey, like I said, for Bret Hart to be able to land an uppercut and knock him out that way, that's some. You went up a whole letter grade for me, Brett, because that's some G stuff right there. So the episode kind of ends with that. We get into episode 4, and they start off because now we're going to be leading into the Vince McMahon, the Mr. McMahon character, the greatest character in wrestling. I know Venkat just blood just set on fire when I just said that. So they
no, you're not wrong for saying that. That's a strong ass character, one of the best ever. You can't dispute the heat that he got.
Yeah, that was a heat magnet. They introduce us to a character called Dr. Jerry Graham, which I've heard of him, but I don't know anything about him. Apparently, this is Vince McMahon's idol, so he wanted to be like him. They show pictures of Vince with blonde hair, which was weird. You know, so then they jump over to the ratings dominance with the 83 weeks. So so Eric Bischoff's show is called 83 weeks. Chris Jericho says 86 weeks. So whatever it is, so that means it probably was more like 90. I would just say, so let's just say 90 weeks.
You don't believe them, but you believe 93,000.
No, but if you one person says 83, one says 86. So I'd say it was probably somewhere a little above that. Like, I mean, why would Eric Bischoff
undercut the amount?
Why would Eric Bischoff undercut it? I would think. And then why would Jericho sell it so much higher when he ended up with the company? That's so I don't know.
Yeah.
So they go to WCW was killing them. Venkat being the one to try to rub it in. I remember when we were kids, he would call me and tell me, "Hey, dial this number." I think it was like it wasn't 411. I think it was 611. And when you'd call that number, it would tell you the wrestling ratings for the week. And WCW was always doing like a 4-1, and WWE was doing like a 3-1. Like it was always like complete domination. And he would only tell me to call it during that time when they were really kicking their behind. Because I watched them all, but I was more so a WWF guy. So so now they kick off the Attitude Era. This is when Vince comes out. So the same Vince McMahon that is mad about keeping kayfabe comes out and says, "Hey, you guys we're not going to insult your intelligence with the heels and baby faces. We're not going to tell you who you should cheer for. We're not going to do this and this and this and that. And that's when the Attitude Era started off. They tributed to Shawn Michaels coming out with the biker shorts. I remember that. I wish that was something I didn't remember seeing, but he comes out with the biker shorts with a roll of gauze inside his pants for some reason, and he's doing hip gyrations and stuff like that.
Reason.
Yeah, man, hey, good thing the Lord saved him, man, because he was a weird one. But Shawn Michaels, so they're saying so they were like, okay, you want to go there? So Vince was going to fine him, and then they were like, oh man, the people loved it and blah blah blah. And then that's when Vince was like, okay, you want to go there? Let's go there. And that's when they say the Attitude Era started. In comes the biggest star of the Attitude Era, probably the biggest star in wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you know, so they go on to tell you though that when Austin first came in and was getting hot, the ratings didn't reflect it. It wasn't until King of the Ring when they told him, hey, you're going to win the King of the Ring. And then Jake the Snake, he got hurt. Mark Merrow kicked him in the mouth and he had to go get all those stitches. Then Michael P.S. Hayes called him and said, hey, Jake just cut a religious promo on you, because they were doing the whole underdog story with Jake Roberts. That's when Stone Cold came back and did the Austin 316. Then they bring in Mike Tyson for WrestleMania. So right now they put a lot of fluff on this. Mike Tyson's involvement at WrestleMania is way overblown.
Exactly.
Mike Tyson's involvement leading up to Mania was good, but his actual WrestleMania involvement was nothing. All he did was count to 3.
He did it horribly.
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, he fast counted.
And his arm looked like a paraplegic arm. It was just weird. His arm never made
the full rotation.
Oh my goodness.
So I got a little thing on here says side note, the match wasn't any good, because it damn sure wasn't.
Nope.
Again, I say WrestleManias aren't great. But it ignited the greatest feud in wrestling history, which was Austin versus McMahon. So MD, Austin versus McMahon. I mean, you couldn't have written it any better. You had Austin represented the everyday man that wanted to tell his boss, kiss my ass.
Yeah, man. It was apropos for the time, definitely. Going back to the Tyson thing real quick. They made Stephanie look so stupid. Once he tried to corporate explain the position behind bringing in Tyson, and she didn't know about the great stuff.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
I'm like, what?
Stephanie said, wasn't that 3 years?
They look good at all in that. But yeah, man,
wasn't that 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was crazy. Oh, what just happened to my wife? Give me a second.
It sounded like you're speeding up, MD.
Yeah. Like his voice just went crazy just then. But yeah, oh my God, that part, I forgot to put that in my notes, man. But yeah, man, Stephanie was like, oh yeah, that was like 3 years ago. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can you hear me now? I think I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They did not make Stephanie look good at all. Like that was stupid. But yeah, man, Austin McMahon, again, I agree, man, greatest rivalry in wrestling history, as far as, especially it being a time of times in the mid to late 90s. Another thing, where was Vince Russo? I can understand that position being to Bruce Pritchard, because Bruce Pritchard was instrumental in that. I think they really should have had Russo in there to really dissect what McMahon was doing versus what the writers were doing. I don't think Bruce did a good representation of that, of how, the Attitude era went at that particular time. I know we're probably going to get into it later with all the stuff that was basically mirror images of what was on TV at that particular time, and some of the stuff that they were doing that was like out of whack as far as the Attitude era, but we'll get into it. But yeah, I'm surprised not to see Vince Russo on there. I would have thought he would have slimed his way on there some type of way.
Or Jim Cornette.
Or Cornette. Yeah, Cornette was another one.
That, you know what? You bring up a good point. That's why I say, like, these two episodes to me maybe that's what it was. It didn't have the right people being interviewed, because you're talking about the attitude. You can't talk about the Attitude Era and not bring up Vince Russo or Ed Ferrara. You can't do that. It was just like last week we talked about how Stephanie was saying, oh, she felt like people were disrespecting her dad because they were giving Hulk Hogan all the credit and not giving Vince McMahon the credit. Well, that's the same thing with the Attitude Era. He didn't want to do half this stuff that they were doing. He didn't want to do it. They had to convince him to do it. And that's why Vince Russo was so instrumental in this. I even got in my notes that the effects of the Attitude Era and his over-the-top storylines and angles, they literally mimicked whatever was hot on TV. They were doing it. The Attitude Era was a different time. You could never do that again, where Triple H would point the random woman X in the stands and she, flash them and this and that. Like you can't go back to that. They were doing the hangings on the Undertaker symbol, and oh my God,
the blackface.
Yeah, the black. Yeah, can't do any of that stuff anymore. But the Attitude Era was a different time. And the thing about the Attitude Era that I liked, everybody had a storyline. Everything in the Attitude Era was not good. We romanticize it a lot. I'm telling you, this era of wrestling, this era of wrestling is so much better. But back then it was more entertaining because everybody had a storyline. Hell, you had a faction called the Job Squad. Like, come on, man. Everybody had a storyline. Remember Val Venus, I chop your pee-pee? Like, come on, man. Back then they literally didn't care. But they asked Shawn Michaels. So Shawn Michaels reflecting on the Attitude Era, and he was like, now that he has a daughter, he might have not done some of that stuff. And it's always like that, man. Revisionist history.
We can't come to that conclusion anytime, any decade, any year before then. It had to hit at that particular time.
Hey, Van Cat, I'm gonna tell you, as a man with a daughter, you see everything different when you have a little girl. Because 10 years ago, I probably still y'all think I'm rough now. I would have been a little bit more rough around the edges 10 years ago. But now I had to be like, oh man, I got a little girl, man. So I'm gonna, I gotta look at things different. So I can get what he's saying. Like MD got a bunch. Okay, MD, how do you see that stuff? Because you got all boys.
I don't see it no different.
Yeah,
and I don't. But the only thing that a change for me is the responsibility aspect. That's it. Other than that, hey, go crazy. As long as you're responsible. Because I know there's an inkling of a part of my lease that can't grasp the outside world when it comes to y'all. That's just a whole fact. I don't care if it's a girl or a boy. But I can at least instill the responsibility in you to do things safe. That's how I view. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like even with Triple H, which is hypocritical. I say, because y'all say I don't criticize Triple H. It's very hypocritical that he was banging China for however long, but now that he has daughters and they ask him why she can't get in the Hall of Fame, he says because if you Google her name, you'll see her, her porn videos come up. So I think that's very hypocritical when.
Yeah, that's some BS.
When he was smashing her. So I get it.
Triple H has a tendency to say a bunch of silly stuff like that. Ask Triple H about black wrestlers.
he don't see color, brother.
Yeah, we don't see color, brother. So they admitted on the video, they were like, hey, they literally were appealing to an 18 to 34 male demo. What is that? No, you can have it. That's that. You'll bring me some water. That's what they were appealing to, was the 18 to 34 horny, sex crazy gothic fan base. So, but at the same time, they were alienating their older fan base also. But you know, they didn't care because everybody's after that key demo, that 18 to 34. Even when you read the ratings now and see the AEW only draws 500,000 people, they're like, oh man, but we had a 0.2 in the 18 to 34 demo. Like, bro, but nobody's still watching your show, so who the hell cares? But
Hey,
you know,
Trevor.
that's my weekly AEW dig.
As you say that about AEW and whatnot, I was just thinking, like with WWE, you know, I know they're doing record business, right? But I feel like the record business that they're doing is mainly because of the price is higher. Like, you know, like they charge, like is that in Atlanta? What was that? Bad Blood. That was a record gate for them, right? And it was only 16,000 people there.
Yeah, but you see what MD said he paid for his tickets?
That's what I'm saying. Because they're charging more. So is it really better business or not? Because it's only 16,000.
Yeah, but they're looking at
Hey, folks, Kamala, so she'll stop the price gouging on these wrestling games.
No, I'm not mad at people for making the money, but I'm just saying it's not like when you look at the Attitude Era or you look at the golden 80s, right? And you match up this era, which is really better? Do we feel like today is legitimately better than the past? I don't mean like, they got paid better right now than back then, and they have better medical and all this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as far as like fan interaction and excitement. Is it the better in the 80s, the Attitude Era, or today? Because everything about today. That's everything today that they're saying is the best. They're saying it because of money that's made, but the money that they're charging is so much more right now.
Venkat, they were beating Monday Night Football.
Oh, you mean in Attitude Era, right?
There's nothing that could beat Monday Night Football.
Right.
WCW and WWE combined every Monday were pulling in more eyeballs, than Monday Night Football. That's all you need to know right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we go back and watch on the WWE Network or Peacock. We go back and watch those shows. Just looking at the crowds versus now is totally different. Despite the volume of people, of course, you know, WWE doing a lot of stadium shows now. But you know, on average, they're doing 6, maybe 7, if you include both of the Riyadh shows. But the enthusiasm that the crowds had back then, nothing's gonna ever top that ever.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
And also, look at the crowds now. The crowds are full of kids. Back in the Attitude Era, you wasn't seeing no kids in those crowds. You were seeing literally 18 to 34. That's what you were seeing in the crowds because you weren't bringing kids to those shows. You were bringing kids to the house shows because they were safer, but you weren't bringing kids to those TV tapings. You weren't doing that. So you had a rowdy raucous crowd. Like you literally, hey man, I remember back in the Monday Night Wars, I was going with this girl and she was like, oh, you know, you could stay over if you want. And I'm like, nah, girl, Monday Night Raw about to come on. I gotta go home. And then she was like, hey, she was like, so you care? She said, you care more about wrestling than me? I said, I'm not gonna say that. But what I am gonna say, is Monday Night Raw is about to come on. So I gotta go. But that's what it was. It was appointment TV. It's not like now. Now, sometimes it take me 3 days to get through a Raw, and it ain't because they're bad. It's just that they don't hold me. Like nothing seems must see, even though I love the way they opened the show with Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed. But nothing to me on Wrestling Anywhere is must see, to where I can't be like, all right, I'll binge it on Saturday when I'm off. But back then, you had to see it. We know you had the remote control in your hand. Soon as Raw, if Raw does something, they go on break, you jumping over to Nitro. It's just like back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. And remember, WCW had the advantage because they had the first hour free.
Yeah,
they had the first
yeah,
hour.
Yeah. and they came on, what was it, Venkat, 5 minutes early and stayed on 5 minutes later?
That's right. Every week.
Yeah, hey, Eric Bischoff. Listen, ain't nobody gonna ever accuse Eric Bischoff of being hey, listen, hey, Ricardo, wrestling. You know how I say now wrestling is life, man. Back then, wrestling was life, and it's not like it was better. In ring wasn't better. It just came off as must see. Back then, wrestling came off as must see. And you felt like if you missed it, then you couldn't go to school the next day and talk about it. I doubt any kids in school now talking about wrestling. But back when we were in school, oh my God, when the NWO came out, like I remember it was this little Haitian kid. He couldn't talk a lick of English. But whenever he saw me, he'd just be like, whoa, it's the NWO. That's every Monday. That's all he'd do. And bro, you know, like the connection. I don't think they do that now. They making all this money because it's the nature of the beast. It's, you know, hell, we going to the Dolphin game this Sunday. Them friggin' tickets are like $300 each. The Dolphins ain't worth no $300 a ticket, but it's the nature of the beast. You have to pay what, you know, you got to pay what they're asking because they have the ability to do that. And WWE could ask for $600 a ticket and somebody gonna pay it. That's just where we are. That don't mean that is better in terms of what made you feel better. Is more so, hey, we could get this money. Let's get this money. All right. So let's so the last note I got on here says that the women were seen as nothing but eye candy, none more than Sable. To me, Sable was one of the most mid chicks you could ever see. Sable had no ass, nothing. She
shaped like a pea.
She looked old. She was mid. You know,
somebody had to say it.
Give me Stacy Keibler. Give me Tori Wilson. Give me any of those.
The people pop. Yeah, the people pop when she powerbombed Mark Merrill, though. I ain't gonna front on that. They pop.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you hadn't seen that before. But man, DDP's wife, oh my goodness, bro. Kimberly's she was put together. Well, they say her dad was black, or so she had a black parent, but she was put together. But to me, Sable was his mid. You know what Sable remind me of? Sable, you know how whenever a black hood movie comes out and they'll always have a white teacher that they want to portray as being fine, that's Sable. So okay,
yeah, I can see that.
I'll go one further. You remember the movie How High?
Mm-hmm.
You remember Redman was fantasizing about his teacher doing the table dance and everything? You see how mid and basic that teacher was? That's Sable.
yeah, they pushed her hard for whatever reason. And you know, I get it. You know, that was other things, you know, in that she wanted. I mean, but WWF couldn't consolidate everything that she wanted to do. So I get it. But they could have found somebody else just as good.
She said that she was pulling in higher quarter hours than Stone Cold. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, that's some BS. That's some BS.
Now I ain't gonna cap. Now when they did the thing with her and Jackie, which Jackie clearly won that because Jackie is built like a stallion. But when Sable took off the top and it had the handprints, they're like, all right, we give her that one. She did the thing there. But yeah, Sable was mid. Sable looks better now that she's older. Just like Trish. Like I think Trish. No,
don't go there, Trevor.
Yeah,
all that work that was done.
I'll back that one up. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Mickie James was far superior to me than Trish. Mickie James was stacked.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
she had legs like tree trunk back then.
Yeah, she's still she's still dynamite. But let's Trish in her day. But Trish, yeah, back in the day, Trish was nice. But Stacy Keibler always had it. Like she was a total. If there was one out of all those women that you're like, okay, this is it's Stacy. They could have easily put Stacy in the Sable role. Only thing about Stacy, she didn't come off with as much sass like Sable. Like she wasn't so full of herself, so it didn't exude like, oh my God, sexiness. It exuded more like, quiet schoolgirl. So anyway, let's get into the last portion of the video. The part that Venkat probably been wanting to talk about forever. So they get into the Owen Hart stuff. So first of all, this now Brett's gone and everything. They show where Owen came out and Vince was kind of berating him. That's when I thought that they were going to push Owen. Okay, so you don't have Brett. You have the ability now to push Owen as kind of like this renegade, which is how they were kind of portraying him. But then they they just pushed him off to the side, and he ended up being in the Nation of Domination, and they ended up bringing.
Do you think that was on purpose? With the hatred of Bret Hart, let the brother suffer.
Vince said in the video, which was ridiculous, because you punish Triple H, but then he turns around when it comes to Owen Hart and he's like, well, why would I push Owen? He was, I mean, why would I punish Owen? He was a contracted employee. Like what?
He's lying.
Because you punish everybody else. Like
there's track record.
Yeah, hindsight being 2020, and I absolutely feel like he punished Owen Hart. So they go to Over the Edge. We got to get there. They go to Over the Edge, and obviously nobody shows the fall. But this is what Venkat has been wanting to say forever. Just
that he murdered him, that he put him in a position of failure.
Well, you can't. According to Brett, he don't believe that no more, based on the evidence that was shown.
Yeah,
so you gonna discredit that?
See, Venkat,
what I'm gonna say. What I'm gonna say is that I'm just saying. We know that he's trying to punish people, and he's trying to put them in not the greatest positions, right? Being Blue Blazer and coming off the rafters is a buffoonery act to begin with. He should have been involved in a hot angle with people like Stone Cold or whoever the guy is at the time. He should have been there challenging and winning that championship. He should have been in more meaningful programs. He had him doing the Happy Negro dance and doing all this other weird stuff. So inadvertently, as it may be, and with the incompetence of the company, it doesn't matter, because if Vince McMahon wasn't there and putting him in a jobber situation, which he shouldn't have been there, this would have never happened. So regardless of the snafu and all other crap, my thing is he's pushing this guy in a place he shouldn't have been, and it's because of the interaction with Bret Hart. And he's like, hey, his brother's here. I'm just on a low key, gonna just have him just half-assing in the corner. But unfortunately, it ended up putting him in an even worse place than he should have been. There's no reason he should have been coming down those rafters. There's no reason he should have been the Blue Blazer again. He should have been Owen Hart doing Owen Hart things.
So
there's no reason for Sting coming down the rafters either.
Man,
that's the whole reason Owen Hart coming down the rafters, because it's Sting.
But hold on. Venkat, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's not like he had just made him be the Blue Blazer. He was being the Blue Blazer for months. It wasn't like, oh, we got rid of Brett left, so now we're going to make you be the Blue Blazer. He was the Blue Blazer for a long time, because they were running a gimmick like kind of like a Clark Kent type thing. Is he Superman? Is he Owen Hart? Is he the Blazer? You don't know. They would have different people under the mask. Now, because I know you always like to be like, oh, the reason he shouldn't have come off the raft, he shouldn't have come on the zip line thing. Maybe so. That's easy to say now because we know what happened. Had it gone off without a hitch, like they practiced it earlier in the day, and it went off without a hitch, as how Vince McMahon came down it and nothing happened. How Shawn Michaels came down at the WrestleMania 12, we would have been like, all right, well, it was stupid to put him in that position, but no harm, no foul. We could use the hindsight and be like, and listen, I'm not defending Vince because I'm about to play a video where I'm about to eviscerate Vince. So don't see this as a I'm defending Vince. I'm just saying we're playing the result here. We know what happened. So now you're like, oh man, it shouldn't have happened. But had he come down the way he was supposed to, we would have just been like another forgettable match. It's not like they had just put him in the Blue Blazer gimmick. He was doing that for a while. Like they were playing the whole Clark Kent thing.
But that's my whole thing is what you just said. Forgettable match. Why does this guy need to be in a forgettable match? And the other thing, the most damning thing about this whole issue is the aftermath and how he had wrestlers continue to go down there. You got big grown men crying. Undertaker, look at his face on the video. It's right now on Peacock. That blood spot that's right on the side. You know it's Owen Hart. All these wrestlers looking at it, feeling funny. And the crowd ain't really knowing what happened. And they just continue. I think that's disrespectful and wrong.
That's the part that got me. And that's the part I'm going to play the video on. That is the part that got me.
It's just ridiculous that it showed no care for the guy that just collapsed under your watch. And he did nothing after the fact to try to make it right at some level. He never tried. So beforehand, it was just stupid. After the fact, it's just gross negligence. And that's what his response after it happens says everything about why it happened.
So I didn't know that this MD. What before I say what I got? What you got on this leading up to? I'm gonna play like 2 videos.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the act in itself, I have no issue with because it's been done before and they practiced it prior to the show. The act is not, and you're gonna play the video. My only issue is again the pay-per-view continuum. That's indefensible. Like, that's just what it is, man. And Jerry Lawler going up and seeing what's going on and have to come back and get that in his headset, knowing that the show is still gonna go, and then getting the announcement. Like how you do that? The backstage interview with Double J and Devil. Devil couldn't even hold it together. Like what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Undertaker's face, man. That's the thing that sears in my brain.
I don't remember that show at all. And you know what's funny? Well, you would so what I found out is that you wouldn't have saw it anyway, because this was a time where I was recording all the pay-per-views. We had a black box. I happened not to be home that night. So when I got home, people were calling me like, oh man, did you hear what happened to Owen Hart? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I watched the news, and then they were like, WWF wrestler Owen Hart passed away in the ring. I'm like, oh no. So I go back to watch the tape because I was recording it, but it didn't show. So which is good. But watching this documentary, it made me go look for some things. I didn't know that at the time the arena was blacked out. So nobody in the crowd, because I was wondering when Jim Ross gave the announcement, you heard people still like cheering and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this is weird that this just happened and these people are acting like this way. So they didn't see what wait, I'm shocked that you were pirating rest. Oh, sure, man, please. I do it now. You think I'm paying $50 for an AEW pay-per-view?
Well, we don't want to disclose that information. Allegedly.
Yeah, you think I'm allegedly paying $80 for a UFC event? You crazy as hell. So when it happened, I'm like, man, these people really don't know what's going on. And to watch this documentary and to hear Vince McMahon give his reasoning as to why he kept the show going on the whole time, I'm sitting here in my mind trying to figure out, like, man, he had to have had a good reason as to why he kept it going. Maybe, he wanted to send the fans home happy. And again, I don't even remember what the main event was on that show. I'm
it was
guessing
Undertaker and Steve Austin.
Oh, well, see, I didn't even remember. Again, and because once I found out what was going on, I just completely checked out of it. So to hear Vince McMahon give the reasoning as to why he kept this thing going, man, Vince, like, whatever goodwill you had with me, I mean, I know I credit you for, this thing that I've been watching for damn near 40 years, but, hell, that could have been anybody. This was inhumane, and your reasoning, I almost would have felt better if you would have said, I didn't want to give no refunds. Then at least it would have fit in line with the Vince McMahon character. But his reasoning for not canceling the show is just absolutely ridiculous. So let me play this. Where is it? I got a couple of them in here. All right, so you got the Over the Edge. All right, so it's two of them. So let's do the Over the Edge press conference. The way which again, I didn't even know they were doing press conferences back then, but here's an excerpt from the Over the Edge press conference.
This is a stunt that's performed on a routine basis in any number of venues. Owen was simply to descend into the ring in superhero-like fashion.
Why was he not on a belay line or some other backup line, which is normally used for anybody that's using a rigging? That there would be a safeguard that someone would control.
I'm not an expert on rigging. I guess you are.
Well, it would appear that there were no precautionary measures taken. Why not?
First of all, I resent your tone.
I resent the sarcasm. Again,
No, I resent your tone, lady, okay?
Why
this was a tragic accident. It's a tragic accident. Don't try and put yourself in the spotlight here, okay? This was an accident. Do you understand what I'm saying? An accident. And everything that should have taken place in terms of rigging, to our knowledge at this moment, did take place. It was rehearsed in the afternoon, and everything was fine. And that's all I know.
Mr. McMahon, is it true then that Owen did practice 3 or 4 times during the afternoon and everything was set and he felt comfortable with it prior to the actual occurrence?
As far as I know, everything was fine during the afternoon. A number of rehearsals took place.
He did the Trump defense.
The fact that he couldn't even be humble in that is
no. He made the interview. He made the lady asking questions the issue to take the heat off of him. It's classic Trump deflection.
I don't like your tone, or I guess you're an expert in rigging. Like, what the bro? Like, you literally just had one of your performers die in the ring, and they're asking legitimate questions, because I would have been like, well, damn, don't those things come with a backup harness? Like, I used to do construction where we'd had to get on the high-rise elevator, but you're strapped up with multiple straps. In the event that something goes terribly wrong, you at least got a safety, you at least got another safety harness to keep you from meeting your demise. So the fact that it didn't have an additional line, like a breakaway line or something, that's a legitimate question. And for him to be like, are you you're a rigging a rigging expert, or I don't like your tone. He tone checking her now because she asking like legit questions. bro, oh my goodness, man.
Out the gate, he immediately went defensive. Immediately.
I didn't even know. I didn't know they were doing. Obviously, it's not like now where we got the network and they're going to do a press conference. I didn't know that they did a press conference after this. I was just looking, I was looking online for some stuff and I saw this. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. MD, what you got on that video?
Hey, ain't no word for what I just heard, bro. like,
for you to take that position and ball up in a defensive position, bro, at that particular time, that ain't it. That ain't it, bro. And especially after you just got finished continuing on with the show. Like, hey, inexcusable, man. Inexcusable, bro.
Him
And I ain't
continuing with
never
the
heard
show.
that before.
Him
Me
continuing
neither.
with the show is the same thing as the lame duck from last night. Not letting those people go before the flooding. That's
Oh
crazy,
my
man.
God. Listen.
Same energy.
Listen, man, that story infuriated the hell out of me because one of my vendors, they just lost their whole company to a hurricane. It completely flooded it out. They got a bunch of our parts. I'm not worried about that part because insurance is going to take care of that. But the fact that they literally said that their plant may never open again, and you have a guy who just had to get his orders out so much that he had people come in and work. All of them were of Latin descent, by the way. So that should be duly noted. So what he probably did was he probably played on the fact that these guys need money. So he's like, all right, yeah, even though we got the hurricane coming in that they're telling us to evacuate, come on in and I'll pay you, time and a half, whatever, to get this job out. And then they end up losing their life. I don't think y'all answer my question though when I asked. I think the local officials should be held responsible also for not mandating that you just can't do it. You can't, is an evacuation. You can't have people coming in. You can't do it.
I agree with it, but I'm also annoyed at the fact that it would have to come to that. But it just shows how greedy a corporation can be. So when people say we need less regulation, then we have these moments.
Yeah, that was absolutely disgusting, man. I'm listening to that and I'm like, man. And you know what? And it would have been okay if he would have went down with the ship, but that never happens to them.
No, he had a special secret James Bond exited area. And he was able to take care of himself quite nicely. They were told earlier in the day, no, you can't go home. No, you can't go home. And then they lied about telling them they can't go home.
But they played on the type of people that it was. Because if it was Pookie and Ray Ray, you're not telling Pookie he can't go home.
Yeah, you already know that.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not telling that. You're not telling Keisha she can't go home. Keisha gonna pat her. Keisha gonna pat her hair.
Oh boy,
out of there.
Keisha would have never showed up.
Yeah, it's crazy that they even had to show up for work that day. That's just ridiculous.
Man, that's who's governing the WWE. The WWE isn't governed by any body. Like, it's a private company,
which is what makes that dangerous. Question, Trevor. So, that guy, and he was covered in the interview. I forgot his name, but that reporter that was always on Vince McMahon.
Mushnick.
Right. So there was I was watching that English guy that does the political panels and whatnot. I can't remember his name now, over 40, but he had a panel of wrestlers. Yes, Piers Morgan. Yeah, he had a panel of wrestlers on there, and they're talking. They had Vince Russo and other people on there. Coachman was on there too, and they were just talking about him, and he was just going on about how it's messed up, how he just kept saying everything negative about Vince McMahon, Even the guy's reporting now he's reporting about the controversy with the ring boys and the steroids and all these crazy things that are going on. And Vince McMahon for years have been getting away with stuff. So he starts reporting about it. And they're concentrated on not the reporting that brought light to something that should be addressed, but they're like knocking him for being negative towards Vince McMahon. And what about the good things the WWF has done? And what about the good things Hitler have done and the Nazis? I mean, like, they're still killing a bunch of people. Who cares? Like, he's bringing attention to something that needs to be addressed. And their whole spiel is, but tell us one good thing about the man and Vince McMahon and all this other. So then Piers Morgan says, "Oh, I got a surprise guest," and it's Mushnick. And now he comes on there, and it's just a yelling going on and on. But I brought that up because I was wondering what were your thoughts about that? Like him reporting it, they're saying that he has a specific hatred towards Vince McMahon. So whatever he's saying is invalid because he never says anything good. Vince Russo also said during the steroids controversy trial that how Vince McMahon had like an open presser that you could see like what they do and blah blah blah, and how Mushnick never came. And at the time, Vince Russo didn't work for WWF; he was a reporter, and he was there. And how he said how he's reporting about something and he doesn't even bother to come and look at it and research it. But a lot of his reporting was valid. So I don't know what you thought about that. Is it invalid for a man to bring up something that's wrong going on, and because of the perception that, oh, he has a personal bias or doesn't like the person, it doesn't make it invalid?
So the thing with Mushnick has always been, they said that he had a personal vendetta against Vince, but you have reporters that go after certain stories and bring things to light. Had he not been so hard on them, we wouldn't have known about any of this type of stuff. So 20 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, man, he just is a witch hunt. But now when I'm watching all this stuff and hearing the way Vince McMahon is acting in a press conference after one of his wrestlers just died, I'm like, man, kudos to Phil Mushnick for bringing light to this guy. I mean, hell, everybody has done some good. On Dead Presidents, they had just robbed the armored truck and shot 2 guards, and they were handing out turkeys. That doesn't somehow make the robbery any less. Right. You know, Nino Brown had taken over a whole damn Carter, and just because he handing out turkeys, he's still selling crack to the his community. So yeah, Vince McMahon could be doing all this stuff, but you're hiding all this obvious SA that's going on. You're hiding the Ring Boy stuff. You're paying Rita Chatterton. You got this situation going on, which I don't blame Vince. I don't blame Vince for what happened. You can't blame Vince for what happened, and we're gonna get to it in the end. You know who the real culprit was, but I get what Venkat's saying. Had you utilized Owen Hart better, he should have been in a program where he didn't need to be the Blue Blazer. I get that. They completely wasted when Bret Hart left and Owen Hart was coming as the Black Heart. They had a star on their hand. The first thing I would have did was have him beat Shawn Michaels. Well, no, I would have had him beat Triple H first and then lead up to Shawn Michaels, and you would have had a hot baby face on your hands, even if for 6 months. The fact that he had one match with Shawn Michaels that he lost, and then they just kind of scooted him down the card. So with that, I get what you're saying. He never should have been in the position to be that. But as far as the harness thing, there was multiple rehearsals and things like that. So I can't say Vince McMahon is responsible for that in that sense of the act. Negligent, I could come around to what you're saying when you say negligent, but again, that's just because he didn't put the guy in a position to succeed. He should have been in a better position, but he wasn't. So I give you that. So
let me ask you this. Do you think Austin had anything to do with the position that Owen was in?
Yes, Austin never forgave him for the neck.
Right.
The neck. Yeah,
Yeah,
Austin
that was wrong on Owen Hart's part. He should have just called a guy.
Yeah, he said he never called him.
Yeah, I know. It's messed up. It's really messed up.
Yeah, I think that was more so he was embarrassed, man. Bro, you literally just almost put the golden goose out. So I don't think it was like he didn't call him because he just was like, ha, screw that guy. It was more so like, damn, bro, I really messed up. And he was embarrassed to like call him because you call him, Austin may cuss him out or something like that. He just, so I think that's what it was.
You better send that guy some flowers and a card or something.
So let's get into the last video. So they asked Vince McMahon on the show. They asked him, why did you keep the show going? And what I thought he was gonna say, I don't know what I thought he was gonna say, but I was hoping that it wasn't this. I would have felt better had Vince just been like, because I didn't want to give out the refunds. Because at least he would have been like, all right, he a dick, whatever. But here's what Vince said. They asked him, hey, Vince, how come you kept the show going? This is what Vince said.
To make was whether or not the show goes on. The live audience didn't really see what happened. Had they seen, there's no question about it, you have to shut the show down.
We didn't announce to the live house because we just didn't think that was the right thing to do.
Those people came to see a show. They didn't come to see somebody die. And me as a businessman, it's like, well, okay, let's continue on. Let's continue the show. Basically, I had.
That is got to be the most evil thing I've ever heard.
I mean, he literally just said the guy's an afterthought. He is, bro. Owen Hart is an afterthought.
When I heard that, I was like, when the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to come concede the Venkat.
How bad is that to do, huh?
That's got to be the most he said that the house didn't see it, which I didn't know. I didn't know that because they had the lights down. So it's like the fans didn't really know what happened, but it makes sense now because had it been in these days, everybody would have been tweeting about it. Everybody would have knew. Back then, you didn't have no smartphones and stuff like that. But
I just dropped the link from MD. He dropped off.
So nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. But for him to say they came to see, they didn't come to see a death. They came to see a show, so the show must go on. But before that, he said, had they seen the death, then no question, I would have stopped it. But they didn't see it, so they didn't come to see a death. They came to see a show, so the show must go on. Listen, since we on episode 63 of Wrestling with Reality, I have defended Vince McMahon at every stop, just because I'm like, hey, he's just business. He's a businessman. I'm big on, if you're a businessman, you have the money, you run the company the way you want to run it. But when I hear something like this, I can't in good conscience defend a man like this. There's not enough bad things that can happen to Vince. And I hope this Janelle Grant case, that they take him for everything he's worth. That's
just the beginning.
Just as a we got you for everybody. It's kind of like when they sentenced O.J. Simpson, they didn't really sentence him for stealing his stuff back. It was more so like, hey, we got you from Nicole.
Yep.
That's kind of what this needs to be like. They need to make an example out of him. The fact that you're on Netflix, you're not on some little rinky-dink station that nobody's gonna watch. You're on Netflix and you got probably the #1 documentary on Netflix, and they ask you, why did you stop the show? Why didn't you stop the show? And you said you didn't stop the show because nobody saw it. Had they saw it, I would have had to stop it, but they didn't see it. So they didn't come to see a death. They came to see a wrestling show.
Unbelievable.
Fuck you, Vince McMahon. Like, seriously, just fuck you.
Trevor, you gotta go to Peacock and watch Over the Edge. Not the whole thing. Just fast forward all the way towards the end. Just at the beginning of the match, when Austin and Undertaker get in the ring, the blood is on the side of the ring, and you see Undertaker just stand there with tears coming out of his eyes. He just stunned. He's just standing there looking. And that's Undertaker, big ass Undertaker. I mean, it's a striking image, and the fact I'm glad they put it on there. Obviously they edit out the part of him falling, but you go from I watched the whole event because I had never seen it before, and you see the ring is regular, no markings, and then you could tell at the point when it happened. Because now you see this big red spot on the side. And Undertaker just standing there staring as he takes off his robes and whatnot. You gotta watch that just for that moment. It's crazy.
You know, I've been watching wrestling since 1985. I've been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old. People ask me, have you ever stopped? Did you ever stop? Yes. When the whole Chris Benoit thing happened, I stopped for 4 years because I'm like, man, it's not pure to me anymore. It's not fun to me anymore. And now remember, I'd lived through Owen Hart dying. I lived through Eddie Guerrero dying. Like, so you're seeing all the deaths, Rick Rude, you're seeing all the deaths and you see the memorials and things like that. But, most of those were medical reasons. And I stopped when the Chris Benoit thing happened because I was a huge Chris Benoit fan. I still remember how emotional I got. I was at a bar watching WrestleMania because WrestleMania was so big then that they were playing them in our local bars. And me and my homies went, and we were so happy when Chris Benoit made Triple H tap out. I never forget Jim Ross, year after year, continent after continent. Finally, Chris Benoit finally is the champion of this world. I loved it. I thought it was. I'm actually going to say that when the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl. But I stopped watching just because I just felt like, like when you just get that emotional drain, and Owen Hart dies and it hurt me. But you know what really hurts is to hear this. Like, I'm literally, like, my whole demeanor changing right now. As I'm sitting there listening to this, I'm like, man, I didn't hear what I just heard. And I'm like, man, let me rewind this just to make sure, like, maybe maybe he said something different. Again, I was hoping he would have said, I didn't want to give them refunds. It would have been bad, but at least it would have been right in line with his character. But let me play back what he said, just in case you guys didn't hear what he said. This is exactly what he said.
To make was whether or not the show goes on. The live audience didn't really see what happened. Had they seen, there's no question about it, you have to shut the show down.
We didn't announce to the live house because we just didn't think that was the right thing to do.
Those people came to see a show. They didn't come to see somebody die. And me as a businessman, it's like, well, okay, let's continue on. Let's continue the show. Basically,
I didn't edit that. That's not, I took that straight off the TV. I didn't edit that at all. That is what he said. And I'm telling you, man, if he was still in charge and I heard that, I'd seriously consider just being done. Is that bad? And I'm not just talking. I'm serious. I'm the guy who stopped watching for 4 years after the Chris Benoit stuff. I was completely done. And it was CM Punk that brought me back in with the pipe bomb. But man, you can't, all my defense of him, all my arguments with Venkat over Vince McMahon, I feel like a complete asshole now. Just because this guy has put on a product that's been a huge part of my life. Almost 40 years I've been watching wrestling in general, not just WWF, but just wrestling period. But he's been the majority of it, his promotion. And to hear this, I don't know anymore. I got no more defense for him. Fuck him. I got no more defense for him. Yeah, fuck Vince McMahon. Yeah, just fuck you, Vince.
And you see Adam, playing the victim when the other person died. But that's another thing about Vince McMahon, another McMahonism, playing the victim on everything. I mean, in this documentary, he goes on to talk about, oh, these guys are taking, WCW's taking all my talent. They just, Hulk Hogan was gone and retired from wrestling, moved on to doing a TV series. They wasn't utilizing him. Macho Man was sitting at the desk trying to commentate. He had no real use for him. Macho Man left. He literally told him it's time to go a different direction. We got to go younger. These guys are over the hill. They can't draw no more money. And they went about their way. They got an offer from the opposition, and they became hot again for a little bit. And he got mad when he saw the success, and he blamed WCW for poaching talent. Meanwhile, he built this off of AWA's back, World Class, NWA, and everybody else. He took all these major stars, the Memphis area. He just snatched up all these guys. Junkyard Dog, Rick Rude, friggin' everybody just got snatched up by him. And when someone used his model, that again, if you rewind back, he laughed at the territory bookers, laughed at them when he lured their talent over to him. And now Eric Bischoff picks up people that are literally unrestricted free agents. If you look at it, again, Hogan was done. It wasn't like he was on WrestleMania and the next day, hey man, what do you think about coming to WCW? He wasn't wrestling. He was done. He was well done. Hogan came in 94. By 93, he was on WWF. So I don't know what the hell. Everything has to be a lie and a deception. He never tells the truth. He always makes himself to be the victim every single time.
Man, yeah, I figured MD's phone died. I got nothing else in this Venkat. I'm that shit bothered me. I say people say, "Oh man, that was so long ago," but when
this stuff matters, man. It matters. A guy died.
You don't, and the saddest part of all is the man wanted to retire just to be a firefighter.
Exactly. He had all these plans to be with his family, and oh man, it's heartbreaking when you think about it. It's just not right. It's not right. Owen Hart wasn't one of those guys snorting cocaine in the back, just dealing with all kinds of women and being dismissive and being a complete jackass, shunning the fans and not wanting to autograph anybody's autographs. He wasn't one of those guys. He was a genuine good guy, from what they say. I never met him, but he's one of those guys you want to see, live out, have a good life, and do good. And for him to get this, just tossed to the side like this, it's just disrespectful, man. They tell you, go out and work hard, do honest day's pay, be a functioning member of society and good things will happen. Well, Owen Hart was that guy. Whether you agree with wrestling or not, he was one of those guys. He put his head down and he did the work. And what did he get? And after it all happened, the disrespect from Vince McMahon since, it's just crazy.
Vince McMahon said, "I'm a businessman. They came to see a show, not a death." So in closing, MD said his phone died. I don't know. I don't know if he got another way. I'd like to hear what he say to end, but so I did have in the closing on this in 2000, Martha Hart settled her lawsuit against the WWE. And in 2003, WWE settled their lawsuit against the manufacturer of the harness used in Owen Hart's stunt. So it was found out that the manufacturer was solely responsible for it, but that's besides the point. You have the owner of the company being snippy with the reporters just trying to do their job and ask questions, and you have the owner of the company all these years later saying, "I'm a businessman."
Mm-hmm.
That's his answer to everything. I'm a businessman. So, Mr. Businessman, I hope, man, I'm not even gonna say it. It's whatever. Oh man.
An important show, Trevor. An important show. That's why I mean WWE would have never done this. They would have never done this, man.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is the reason. Man, I felt really bad for Brett. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Brett's like just physical stuff, and this is just me pure speculation, has something to do with, he's on the airplane hearing that his brother died. I think that's what he said, right, that he got word when he was on the airplane. So and you could tell when Owen died, like a piece of him just died with him. Like that was it. Of
course.
He never looked the same. That's when he became curmudgeon old Brett. Like it just, and I don't blame him. I really don't blame him being the way that he is, man. When you got to hear a man say that I'm a businessman, like at the end of the day, I value my business over what you're doing. It's not like now where they're making all this money. You could have refunded those people their money. WCW had to do it when they cut the pay-per-view
multiple times. Multiple times.
They had to refund those people all their money back. So so it happens. So yeah, Vince.
I mean, is Vince McMahon saying that if we refund the house on that show, Over the Edge, not WrestleMania, not SummerSlam, not Royal Rumble, Over the Edge, if you refund that house ticket, that it's gonna pretty much do that'd be the end of WWE. That'd be the end of WWF. Come on, man, it's ridiculous. At that time, by '99, WWF was making more than NHL, Major League Baseball, and another league combined. The WWF was making more money. In the documentary, they talked about that. Oh God, what's it called again? I keep forgetting the name of that documentary. The one that followed Mick Foley.
Beyond the Mat.
Yeah. They talked about that. Like WWF at that time, 99, 2000, 98, in that time period, that they were making that much cash. How the hell can refunding that show undo anything? I mean, he made it about something it didn't have to be. Maybe he was scared. Maybe he felt, oh my God, I'm liable. Oh my God, this and that. Maybe I should have paid more money for that other company that is a little bit better than this one, but I'm gonna cheap out.
Oh yeah, we can't gloss over that. He went with the secondary company.
Exactly.
They didn't go with the company that does Sting's rigging. They went with his his I was about to say his Spanish brother, but they went with they went with his Pakistani brother.
Exactly. So, you know, he know that there's a lot of fault here on his end, whether he wants to admit it or not. And he practically admitted by saying that dumbass statement he said. And you know he's telling the truth because he's saying it in live form.
Oh yeah, he
knows the
absolutely.
documentary is going to be readily available.
Yeah, he absolutely. He meant what he said. That wasn't no oh crap. What do they call it? Freudian slip. That wasn't no Freudian slip. He meant exactly what he said. I'm a businessman. He said the majority of the people didn't see it, which I didn't know. That was news to me. I thought they saw the fall. I forget. I think it was Jimmy Corderas was the referee of that match, or it was Jimmy Corderas. He said he felt the wind. He fell so hard that he felt the wind brush him.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if he was an inch or two over, he probably fell on top of him.
And both of them be dead. And they said Owen was yelling, "Look out, look out, look out." Like as he was falling, he was saying that. They didn't cover that in the documentary, but in other things I've seen, that's what they said. That he was yelling like "Look out" as he's falling. So even as he's falling to his death, that tells you the kind of guy that Owen Hart is, man. It's just crazy.
Oh boy, yeah. What? So you watched 5 and 6 already, right?
Yeah, I've seen it all.
All right, I gotta.
It's a great documentary, man. I don't care what anybody says. It's important, and it reveals a lot. And you couldn't get this documentary 10 years ago, not because of like it just wasn't available to do. It's just it needed to happen in this time period now, where time has passed and we're looking back at how things were done, and we're like some like you said, you didn't know about certain things in the day. So now we're knowing, and now is this the best we could be doing with how we operate with things? There's got to be a higher level of operating. You can make money as a man, as a company. That doesn't mean people have to be asked out or be taken advantage of. You can make money, and other people can make money too, without being safe and without tragedies like this.
Yeah, this was disgusting, man. I last week we had a lot more fun with this, but I mean, you know, I think at one point we had like 20 in the building, so you guys are just as interested about the Vince McMahon stuff as I am. But yeah, I got nothing for Vince anymore, man. I'm done. I'm done.
And think about look at the tone that we got right now. It's not even the Chris Benoit episode. It's not even Chris Benoit. That's the thing, man. I mean, God, R.I.P. to Owen Hart, man. It's just not right. It never sat right with me.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I could only imagine what 5 and 6, because I'm assuming they're getting into Benoit.
Oh hell yeah! I'm telling you, this thing they go
Guerrero.
Yeah, he's mentioned, but it's mainly Chris Benoit, but it's great stuff.
All right, well, you got. Oh my goodness, man! So you guys tune in next week, man. Hey, we'll thank you guys for watching, man. All the new people that came over, man, we appreciate it. Make sure and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Those of you watching over on Twitter, go ahead and hit the like button on the video. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place, to review the last 2 episodes of the Vince McMahon documentary. Man, this was compelling. Like, it's really compelling, man. I'm almost nervous now to watch episode 5 and 6, but I done committed. So I wish, what I did wish though is that the Janelle Grant stuff would have been included, but they recorded this before.
It's brought up in the next few episodes. It's brought up.
Okay, so I thought they said that they wrapped up recording before the
right,
news.
and then they updated like stuff.
Oh.
So it's talked about.
Oh, they do.
I mean,
update it.
it's not as long as I would like it to be, but it's in there. They're talking about his history of this type of stuff, and so it's there. It's mentioned.
Oh, that's good then, man. So, hey, man, for my co-hosts, Venkat and MD. I know he fell off because his phone died, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We will see you guys next week. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the teaching Should Preachers Be Paid to Preach the Gospel. That's tomorrow night at 6:30. The MMA brothers will be here Friday. I may do a post-game show to the Dolphins live recap once I get back home. So look for that a little later. Probably be more so about 6 or 7 versus 4 o'clock like I normally have them. Man Talk Monday will be back this Monday. Tune in to Take Fist Politics on Tuesday, and then the following Wednesday we will have the last episode 5 and 6 of the Vince McMahon Doc, man. So for my co-host and everybody in the chat, everybody in the Straight Talk Society, man, thanks you guys for coming through. We will see you guys on the other side. Peace.
WWR. Putting a black eye on professional wrestling.
Peace.
And the bitch now the whole world can acknowledge me.
You'll get the shit. You'll be knee deep in the shit.
Brother, I'm gonna take you home.
What?
You're gonna be mine. You're about to be mine.